Ready?
Intentional only put it next
All right.
It's Musa on the way.
He's on his way. We'll be a little early.
We give it a couple minutes.
He might be too late, so. Let's start. All right, we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting of Hamtramck City Council to order. Today is September 12, 2023, and it's 7:02 p.m. Would the clerk call the rules, please?
Councilman Rafai,
Present.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Present.
Councilman Mahmood,
Yes.
Councilman Al-Samiri,
Yeah, present.
Councilman Hassan,
Present.
Councilman Musa is not present yet, and Mr. Mayor, you are present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, individual, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any community announcements?
No, sir.
No announcement? You have an announcement?
Not now. Did you want to speak during public comment? Because you have to fill out one of these cards right outside the door. Yeah, so don't, stay.
हमारे हमारे दुर्गा ये हमारे कॉन्वर्सेशन हम तेरे लिए और तुमको Oh my gosh.
All right, so no announcements. We move to the proclamation, recognitions, and presentations. And we have certificate of recognition for Glyphera Gordon.
I'll have to share it completely.
She's not here?
No. But
All
if you
right.
want, I can read it.
You can.
Glyphera Gordon, a City of Hamtramck certificate of recognition for Glyphera Gordon. Glyphera has displayed an unwavering commitment to beautification, particularly in the transformation of Cove Park. Her tireless efforts and creative vision have breathed new life into this part of our city, making it a more vibrant and inviting place for all residents and visitors to enjoy. Signed, Ahmed Galib, Mayor of Hamtramck.
Thank you. All right, we move to the,
Thank you.
Thank you, Rana. Councilman.
all right. So we have additions and deletions of the agenda approval. Abu Musa is here now.
Yep.
Councilman Abu Musa.
704.
Mr. Chair,
Do you have any additions or deletions?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Councilman.
I want to add this resolution to the agenda for tonight, please.
Go
And
ahead.
it's a resolution to remove Karen Mayaski from the DDA authority, please.
Second. Okay. All right, so that would be
J.
139, J.
139.
2023, 139, letter J.
Mr. Chair,
uh,
after this, I will bring another resolution to discuss. I want to discuss about the current employee status of the city current employee and probably potentially freeze future hiring until we look at the budget and financial situation of the city.
Second.
okay. That would be
140.
K.
Okay.
Let me get this correct. It's pausing hiring until you.
Yes.
Right? I'm sorry, who seconded? I know there was a couple seconds.
Nine.
Musa.
Nine.
Rana, did they vote the first one?
There was, they didn't vote, there was just a
No,
second.
so I think
Yeah,
that the first motion needs to be voted on before the second,
Okay.
so you guys skip some.
okay, so we'll pause
Yeah, we
on
skipped
that
that one.
I
So,
just
Yeah.
yeah.
wanted to make sure.
So, we'll vote on resolution 139J, which is resolution to remove Karen Mayeski from the Downtown Development Authority. Councilman Rafai,
Yes.
and this is just to add it to the agenda. You're not
Yes,
voting on the
yes,
resolution.
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood,
Yes.
Councilman Al-Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, resolution 139J is added to the agenda, new business.
Okay.
And now we have, resolution 140K, pause hiring.
Yes.
Motion by Mahmood, Councilman Mahmood, seconded by Councilman Abu Musa. And then I can go ahead and vote. Councilman Rafai,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Musa.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 140K added to new business approved.
Thank you. All right, so we move to the next section, which is the public comments.
All right, and just to reiterate, there's 30 minutes of public comments. So first come, first serve. I do have emails, but if we don't have 30 minutes, we don't have enough time, unfortunately, I won't be reading the emails. Christine, is it Bedouis? Bedenis, welcome, 3 minutes.
Good evening, thank you for having me. I'd like to speak to the item on the agenda about approving the contract with Block and the automatic license plate reader cameras. 83% of American adults drive several times a week. And so that includes many in our community. We have the most densely populated community in the state of Michigan. Therefore, there's many cars coming and going throughout our city and community. Being able to, with these cameras, you'll be able to fully track anyone's movements, which is questionable when it comes to regards of our ability to maintain our own privacy. It's been ruled by the Supreme Court that dragnet surveillance is unconstitutional, and such as checkpoints where every car is indiscriminately searched and stopped. And this is functionally no different. The Carpenter versus U.S. 2018 Supreme Court ruling regarding obtaining cell phone location data says the depth, breadth, and comprehensive reach of data and the inescapable and automatic nature of its collection necessitates a warrant and provides a framework this provides a framework of understanding for a reasonable expectation of privacy, particularly as it applies to license plates. We, as people who need to drive in this community, we aren't able to meaningfully consent to providing this data and information. Following from that, there's serious questions about who owns this data and who are they responsible or accountable to, and is this data going to be sold? We don't know, and there's no clear answer on who's going to own this data, who has access to it. And I think back to the Patriot Act, which is still in effect, that allows for the federal government to surveil people, such as our Muslim brothers and sisters and neighbors, and has been used in ways to target them. I think about now, there's a rise in laws being passed by many states criminalizing movement of people to seek healthcare options. And I'm worried that these license plate readers will be able to enforce those unconstitutional laws and prevent people from accessing healthcare. And we've seen that also. I'd like to add that these things are faulty. A randomized controlled trial shows that there is a 37% rate of misreadings from these things. So they are not reliable when 2 out of 5 people are being misidentified by these readers. And I do not want these in our communities because they're only going to be used against our people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Carrie Beth Lasley.
Clapping after people comment, okay?
Carrie Beth Lasley. 3 minutes.
I'm going to talk about the surveillance systems that you're taking up today, even though I know there's really no need to take public comment on it, because we already know how you feel about public comment, and surveillance is something that you've also supported in the past. 3 of you sat here and you voted for the surveillance park. 3 of you were sitting on the board when you voted for cameras in the park. There's only one, the first time I ever encountered these cameras that actually take a picture of your license plate when you're driving, or they can be scanned for warrants, was in 2011 when I was working on my dissertation. The community I studied was formed out of segregation. They didn't want to have their children go to school with black students in New Orleans, so they formed their own parish, created their own community, and In 2011, I got into a meeting that I was only able to get in by the color of my skin, where I learned about the meters that they put in. They put them on the border. There are 3 roads that went into the community from New Orleans Parish, city of New Orleans. They put one at each border coming into the community. They had 2 roads that went out of the community to another white community, and they did not put any cameras there. So these have been used for reasons in the past. And I think I told you, I found this out at a meeting that was only attended by white people intentionally. So I wanted to let you know that there's a history of this being racist. She's right that it misidentifies people who are not white more frequently than anybody else. And you're already committed to surveillance, so I don't even know why we're bothering asking. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Josh Hans, connect?
Hello, thank you for your time. I'm Josh Hansknecht. I'm representing the Hamtramck Queer Alliance. I've got several things that I'd like to mention today. First, I'd like to talk about your ethnic intimidation ordinance. I and our organization commend the council for editing these ordinances to remove the different various clauses that were specifically tailored to crimes that were happening to council members or things like that, and having it be a more general law for the purpose of everybody. I also think that you should stop tailoring other of our city laws for the convenience of city council, in particular our public comment. Limiting our public comment is undemocratic. Yes, it is the longest, most tedious part of your job, but it is the only part of your job that matters. You are elected officials, you're here to listen to your people's complaints, even if you don't like them, even if you don't agree with them. Being served a letter from the ACLU is concerning, and I'm hoping that our city can be on top of these things so that way we're not reacting to things like legal issues and being proactive and shoring up our laws so that way they are not weak to those sorts of legal troubles. The last thing I'd like to, well, I've got a couple other things. I have a couple questions about tonight's new resolutions. The resolution to remove Karen from the DDA and the resolution to pause on hiring. Mostly related to my first question, what kind of grounds are you removing citizens from these positions? And is it personal or is it for a reason that is going to be in the betterment of the city? Secondly, pause on hiring. Why are we pausing on hiring? How is our budget? What is that looking like? And is that part of the decision that you're making today? Last but not least, our organization had a fantastic time at the Labor Day Festival and Labor Day Parade. I was very disappointed to not see you guys there. Have a good one.
Thank you. Lynn Blasey?
Hi, Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to support the rezoning of the properties near Metropolitan Bakery. I understand that they are working on doubling their size and really increasing their production, which will hopefully bring more jobs to Hamtramck and really support some of the directions that we're hoping to go to bring revenue to the city. So I do support the rezoning of those properties. Regarding the resolutions to bring air conditioner units to council chambers, the IT offices, the DPS offices, it's my understanding that this is also part of a very comprehensive plan to upgrade our city hall, and I support those resolutions. I also urge you to support the citywide sidewalk sales for October 6th and 7th. The EDDA has been working really hard to put together Shop the World Hamtramck, which also coincides with the Hamtramck Neighborhood Arts Festival. Really great opportunity to attract people to Hamtramck, and not only to our artists' homes and to see how our artists our creative people in Hamtramck make their art, but also to our businesses as well. So I think that's a really exciting development that we've been working on with the DDA. I also support new windows for the DPS offices. All the windows eventually need to be upgraded, so a little bit at a time makes sense. I do not support the flat cameras. I am against surveillance of residents. It's my understanding that this is vehicle recognition software, but that's a very close step to facial recognition, and other people with access to this software and this data can very easily run a program to do facial recognition, and that makes me extremely uncomfortable. A lot of different organizations up to the federal government have access to the databases. It records audio, and I really do not support this. I also am curious where the cameras will be located. That does not say in any of the paperwork. I support the stop signs around Florian and Brombach to make it safer for the school children and families when school lets out. And I'm excited to see what happens with the properties in the silent auction. Thank you. Oh, and I am also curious of the reasoning for removing Karen from the DDA.
Thank you.
Gracie Faye?
Hi, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm going up to talk to you about why you need to not get drunk. Yesterday was 9/11. I'm going to give you a brief history lesson of what happened in 2001 following the attack on the towers. Men who look like you were seized by the federal government. They are not your friends. Flock provides all of their videos to the federal government. I get it. We don't like each other. That's fine. You don't have to like me. But you do have to listen to me here. I am imploring you, begging you guys, find common ground with me on this. Do not bring mass surveillance into your community. You have something amazing here. Why on earth would you allow a federal government or a state government that has done irreparable harm to your communities by mass surveillance to have easy access to your people? That makes no sense, gentlemen. I understand you want to know who's in your town. I get that. I totally understand that. A better way is going to clubs and open meetings and engaging with your citizens face to face, not sitting there spying on them from cameras attached to poles. If the police department chooses to leave it in LEARN, every agency in this country will have access to your data. Think about that. Do you truly, truly want an agency like the FBI that really is concerned about Muslim men taking political power in this country to monitor your cars, to monitor your children's and your wives' vehicles and their comings and goings as they move about this town? I understand your idea is to place this on the outskirts, on the entrances of your town. That's not going to work well. You have 2 miles. You're going to pass through them a lot. And they're going to collect tons of data on you. And they're going to use it against you. They will use this information, these videos, the audio they record against Muslims. It will not be used against anyone else. It is going to be used against minority people such as yourself. I get it. You don't like me. But work with me on this. Just listen to me once, gentlemen. I'm not trying to fuck you over on this. I'm trying to protect all of us. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Gracie. Ramesh Wadud?
Good evening. My name is Ramesh Wadud. I'm a staff attorney at the ACLU of Michigan. As I hope you all know well from our letter to you, we have some serious concerns about recent limitations to the public comment period. However, I have some commitments from your city manager and city attorney that we would get a formal response, and so I will save you the trouble of rehashing that letter. What I wanted to talk about right now is Resolution 134 to purchase license plate readers. You may or may not remember I came here months ago when this first came on the agenda to air out some concerns that the ACLU has about purchasing license plate readers, and I'm just going to reiterate some of those concerns today. First of all, in terms of accuracy, as others have mentioned, license plate readers sound great in theory, but in reality, they do not operate perfectly. You're expecting cameras to capture from a distance license plates that are operating, that are moving at high speeds. We have seen reports numerous times of O's being mistaken for zeros, I's being mistaken for L's or ones, and that is almost certain to lead to wrongful arrests and unnecessary police interactions. On top of that, even assuming these license plate readers were perfect, operated perfectly, captured license plates perfectly, they're just not all that effective. The ACLU studied license plate reader information in the state of Maryland. We reviewed over 1 million license plate scans, 1 million hits, and what we found at the end of the day was that of those 1 million hits, only 47 of those scans were useful to ongoing serious crime investigations, things like stolen vehicles, wanted suspects. We're talking about a 0.005% rate of usefulness to criminal investigations. And so what is being proposed here today is to use $50,000 yearly of the city's funds to make an unnoticeable impact on ongoing criminal investigations, and certainly no impact at all on preventing crime. So the ACLU thinks that that money can be used on much more productive things that prevent crime, address crime at their roots. We're talking about narcotics, forfeiture funds. We can address drug abuse and drug overdoses at its roots with that money, instead of spending it on technology that is known to be ineffective and inaccurate. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Jessup? Thank you, Justin. Sandra Jessup? Thank you, Sandra. Charlene Sloan?
Good evening.
Good
To the
evening.
mayor and to the council.
Good
I
evening.
have two issues. First, the water bill. The water bill is too high. The man that's downstairs in the water department, he tells people every time I go down there to talk about my water bill, he tells people that they have a leak. And he told me that I had a leak. I told him, no, I do not have a leak. He sent people, not only me, in my neighborhood, not just in my neighborhood, high water bills. And it's not fair. You know, they steal it from us like Highland Park in Detroit. And something needs to be done, and I'm telling you, I'm not gonna let it rest. And then another thing is the rehab grants. I asked y'all city manager about the rehab grants. He said y'all don't have any. I asked the mayor, he didn't know any. Bill Myers said no, Hamtramck does not have any Hamtramck grants. I've been in Hamtramck just about all of my life, okay? When Kathy England was here, I filled out the application. The lady that was with me filled out an application, and nothing was heard, okay? She told me, well, Charlene, I'm not like Jerry Deadlock. And she's right, because it would never be another Jerry Deadlock in the city of Hamtramck. Somebody that's willing to help people. People around me, I don't know if it's politics or if we are black people and we cannot get any help. The city manager should know whether we have grants. And you know what, and people need to know really what's going on in Hamtramck. And I'm telling you, I'm not gonna stop until I get some answers. I don't care if I have to go to the news. I want some answers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager, you follow.
Jesse Quick? Jesse Quick?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm frustrated, to say the least, to be back here to offer public comment on an action brought forth by the council, which again limits the right to freedom of expression for residents of Hamtramck. I care and believe deeply in the power of city government to create meaningful change. And I've spent much of my life educating others on the great impact that seemingly small-scale political involvement can have. Unfortunately, I believe the actions of this council, at least over this summer, if not for longer, have provided an example of the worst ways this power can present itself. As I said, I care deeply about city government, and while I haven't been able to attend every in-person meeting these past few months, I've paid close attention to the actions you've taken to carve away the rights of our city's residents. Now, instead of using my time at this meeting to speak on issues that truly excite me in the city, such as ideas for sustainability, beautification, or equitable transportation, I'm here again to speak on deaf ears about the dangers of your decisions. It's clear that your decision to limit public comment comes out of the lengthy comment period during the meeting on June 13th, during which the majority of speakers urged you not to pass Resolution 2023-82. Comments that you willfully ignored after gaslighting attendees and claiming that the resolution passed was not actually as insidious as it so clearly was. Since that passing, the city's seen a marked increase in harassment against queer residents that's taken many forms, from verbal to physical. This is something that many commenters, including myself, warned would take place, as Resolution 2023-82 served as a dog whistle to anti-queer individuals and groups, empowering them to be more visible with their hatred. This is the importance of public comment, that although you all very comfortably chose not to listen to your constituents, the dangers were made clear, and you, in your dispute, were proven wrong with your claims of neutrality around that resolution. This scares you so much that now you want to limit opposition as much as you can. This isn't governing. This isn't serving the people. This is choosing to serve your own power and strengthen your ties with national groups which seek to undermine our democratic systems. This is the beginning of moving towards a fascist system of governing. I urge you, if time is purely your greatest concern here, not to pursue actions which will inspire hundreds of people to speak in opposition. Some of you boast about your time spent in public office and your heightened knowledge of democracy, but I wonder why you haven't yet learned the lesson that most constituents don't feel the need to offer comment on actions brought forward if they approve of them. Anger, fear, and opposition inspire speech more often than approval. I question what your claimed tenure in public office has been spent doing if you haven't yet learned this simple fact. I have to gather from your recent actions that not much time has been spent representing your constituents, which I shouldn't have to remind you is the core purpose of your position here.
Thank you, Jesse.
Mr. Chair.
Is it Chaz? Chaz?
I don't know.
Can you pronounce your last name?
Brian?
Brian?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr.
Chaz
I know.
Brian.
Mr. Chair, can we find out from the city manager regarding her water bill?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at it.
She's gonna, he's gonna follow up with her.
He's gonna follow up with you, man. Our city manager, right? Our city manager's gonna follow up with you regarding your bill. So we can find out why is it higher, right?
Yeah, not only just man, people around me.
All right, fine, but he's gonna reach out to you, so we can find
Oh,
out.
the brand.
We have grants.
And that's why we're gonna find out.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi. So others have commented on the ineffectiveness of the cameras as well as their just the 0.005% really stood out to me. But I'd like to offer some suggestions of other ways you can use $53,000 a year plus $45,000 every year thereafter. As a landscaper, I can tell you that we'll buy a lot of trees. You can beautify most of your parks in the city. You could plant community gardens to take care of many of your residents who are not eligible for food assistance program because of their immigrant status. I speak out of personal experience in that one because I used to work for the welfare office down the street. It's really sad to have to reject people because of just that little thing when everyone needs food. I also want to point out that this was mentioned once in May or June, this resolution for cameras, and then quietly just not mentioned again until now where it's being voted on. I find that to be pretty obviously undemocratic. I find the irony that this city, which is such a diverse population full of minorities that were so greatly impacted by the Patriot Act, would partner with Flock to put these cameras in surveillance and where we know the information will be sent to the federal government. So I question the actual rationale going on, whether any of you are personally benefiting from this, or if it's just you were sweet-talked into using a camera system that is statistically not worth a penny. You could buy a lot of library books. Sorry, going back to other suggestions. A lot of library books for kids. You could improve school supplies in the public schools in Hamtramck. You could offer assistance for tutoring programs for the children of Hamtramck. You could increase the, there's a job finding business in Hamtramck. Thank you. You get a job finding business in Hamtramck that is getting some funding from the state to partner with the DHHS there. You could expand that program to help just boost economic productivity in the city. There are many, many, many more uses of $53,000 than surveillance, which is going to be used to harm many of your constituents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is the 30 minutes of public comment. Those who did not get a chance to speak at this public comment will have an opportunity at the second one if you stick around. And Mr. Mayor, that's all for public comment.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Thank you. I know we have the elected officials
Yeah,
here.
suspend the law.
So we will suspend the law and listen to a presentation by our elected officials. We're going to start with Senator Stephanie Chum and then Abe Ayash, or you can both present, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to come by and give you guys a quick update. We just resumed session last week in Lansing. I want to thank our fire chief and police chief for joining me last week. We had our 9/11 commemoration at the state capitol, and I just wanted to give you guys top line. I know Senator Chang is going to have some updates on some exciting legislation around, I know Ms. Charlene talked about water affordability and other things around the climate and energy investments, but I just wanted to give you some top-line announcements around the budget that we passed this past summer. So as you know, for the first time since Ronald Reagan, Democrats have secured the Michigan House and Senate as well as the governor's mansion, and we were able to have one of the most progressive budgets in state history. Among that, Hamtramck was a huge winner in the budget, receiving the largest state investment in our infrastructure in over a 100-year history in the city. And I wanted to thank a couple individuals that really worked with us to make sure that happens. Number one, my counterpart in the Senate, Senator Chang, was a champion for Hamtramck during the budget negotiations. And I want to personally thank a specific council member who came up to Lansing multiple times to actually help us secure some of the funding and advocate for that money. Councilman Mohammed El-Samiri was somebody that came to Lansing more times than some other city electeds in other parts of the state because of how committed he was to secure money for Hamtramck. So I just wanted to thank you specifically, Councilman El-Samiri, for the work that you did in advocating. He leveraged his relationship with Kathy Anger, our former city manager, and found ways to insert himself in meetings and talk to appropriations chair and whatnot. So I want to thank him for that. Just want to give you some top line and what are some of the big funding wins Hamtramck received. So city got notice today that later this month, Hamtramck will likely receive $15 million in addition to what we are securing in the budget around the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. And this addresses the needs of our water infrastructure in the state. This is in addition to the $10 million we're able to secure for our water infrastructure. I know that the sewage line, we have a $40 million project that the state received a federal grant, and we know that with the money that we're able to secure from the $10 million as well as this $15 million, we are well on track to finally address some of the long-term infrastructure issues around our flooding and our hopefully addressing some of the water runoffs that we are hearing customers are facing as a result. They're getting higher rates in their water bills. Additionally, there is a 2% one-time increase in the revenue sharing for public safety. So we're hoping that in working with Senator Chang's legislation around mental health professionals and things of that nature, our city will invest in some of those targeted areas to increase public safety in our communities. And there's a 5% ongoing increase for our revenue sharing. So Hamtramck is set to receive in the next 2 years about $10 million roughly in our revenue sharing sources. So the state is going to pump in a lot of money, but I just want to highlight this is a result of a Democratic trifecta in the Michigan House, Senate, and the governor's mansion. And I want to thank Max, who's been a strong and able partner in communicating what the city needs. And we look forward to continuing our budget wins. I know the alleys and sidewalks are a huge concern for folks. We're able to secure some monies for that. We're going to fight for more. And our fire department has aging equipment. I know that's a concern for folks. And we know that there's an interest in making sure we're investing in green infrastructure and environmental justice. And with that, I will transition it to my colleague, Senator Chang, so to give an update on that piece.
Sounds good. Well, good evening. It's great to be here. For those in the audience, I'm Stephanie Chang, the state senator for Senate District 3, and we're so happy to just remind folks, if you didn't already know, that we actually do have, as many of you were there, a new district office that opened up this summer. So really want to encourage folks to reach out to us if there are things that we can help with, especially, navigating state bureaucracy and different types of things, whether it's benefits or veteran issues or you name it. We're there to help. It's right on Joseph Compow, 11521 Joseph Compow. And so please definitely reach out to us. Our staff is very capable and eager to help. I do have a flyer with upcoming coffee hours. Upcoming in the district. We actually do have one next Friday, the 22nd at 11 o'clock here in Hamtramck at Juice Box Blend, just up the street from our office. I'm Joseph Compow. But in terms of things going on in Lansing, we've been very, very busy. I'm sure you all have sort of seen the news about the many, many issues that we've been working on at the Capitol. So too many issues to talk about today, but wanted to just highlight just a couple of them. One is probably of interest to a lot of folks. which is really to address our needs around our changing climate and moving our state towards a clean energy future. This is really important, especially because we're all very aware of how hot so many of our summer days were this summer, the flooding, power outages throughout our state, the tornadoes, just the list goes on. We know that these extreme weather events are here to stay and in fact will get worse, and so we really need to take strong action on climate. So we will be this fall really moving further and faster towards more renewable energy, doing more around ensuring that we are providing energy efficiency to customers, and also our hope is that we will do as much as we can to really provide our state's Public Service Commission the tools to hold our utilities accountable when it comes to reliability, affordability, equity, what's the fourth thing? Can't remember. Equity, affordability, climate, and health. So really hopeful that we'll be able to pass some significant legislation this fall. For those in the room, if you have strong feelings about any of those things, please feel free to reach out to us or other lawmakers as well, because we're going to need everyone to make sure this is as solid and as impactful as possible. I'll also just highlight one thing that I've been personally working on for many, many years that we will soon be taking up actually in committee is an issue around domestic violence. So for many years, we have been working on legislation to help protect domestic violence survivors from their abusers by ensuring that those who are convicted of misdemeanor domestic violence do not have access to a gun for just a period of about 8 years. This is very similar to what has happened in over 30 other states, Republican states, Democratic states. Also, there is a federal law, but we need to put something in place at the state level, so that we can help protect survivors. So stay tuned for that. There will be some news coverage later this week on it. And we, of course, are working on many, many other things, including water affordability and so much more. But really just wanted to stop by tonight to remind you all that we are here to be a resource, eager to continue serving, and grateful for our partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to flag one more event happening on Thursday, not too far from here at the Sweet Kingdom Missionary Baptist Church on Shane Street. So the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, MD Eagle, is having a community meeting regarding U.S. Ecology South. If you're familiar, U.S. Ecology North is the one right near the Folding Warehouse, right on the Hamtramck-Detroit border. They have a second location just further down the street that deals with solid waste, and they are requesting an extension of their current permit. The problem is they have since violated their permit many, many times since they've had it. A lot of air violations, a lot of odor violations. So we need folks from Hamtramck to come. This is an event that is actually set up by the Detroit Hamtramck Coalition for Advancing Healthy Communities. It's a grassroots group that sort of brings together the Poletown East community as well as Hamtramck and the Georgia Street Collective. We need folks at that meeting to speak out against U.S. Ecology South's permit and the concerns they have. If you know anyone that suffers from any health impacts, whether it's breathing or issues around air quality, this is the moment to come issue public comment in that meeting. So to that point, Senator Chang and I will be introducing legislation. One, she mentioned the environmental piece, making sure that as we're transitioning to green energy, that Hamtramck, Detroit, places like Highland Park, we get affordability for our customers and our residents in these states, and in these communities rather, and we are going to rein in the utility companies. DTE is probably the most angering 3 letters. I think many people in this room can attest. And we have some legislation coming up right now that will address your energy affordability as well as reining in their power and influence in terms of setting the rates in the state of Michigan. So that's forthcoming, but we want to make sure that as we talk about all these issues, we need engagement from all people. That includes our community members, that includes all of you before us on council and the mayor, because that's the only effective way that we can actually ensure that our issues are going to be heard on the state level. So with that, I just want to thank you for your time, and I want to thank Stephanie, Senator Chang, for being such a great champion and partner with me fighting for Hamtramck and Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you. All right, thank you, Senator Stephanie and State Rep. Ibrahim Ayash, for coming and presenting to us about the presumed funds that will come to Hamtramck. We were hoping for more for the alleys, but you punished us for no reason. Well, thank you so much. We still support you, though. And hopefully the community can be more engaged with the elected officials about what's going on in Lansing. So a lot of people talked about the public comments. I just want to say that I'm in favor, in support of unlimited time for public comments. If you can convince the council about that, I'm supporting you. I have no issue with it, okay? Anyone can, bring it back and we can reconsider that. Now we move to the consent agenda, and this is approved in a single motion with no discussion. We have approval of minutes from the September 12, 2023 regular city council meeting. B, approval of invoice register date ending September 12, 2023. C, approval of pre-approved expenditure date ending September 12, 2023.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Now we move to the public hearing, and we have Resolution 2023-123B, approving second reading and public hearing of the Minority and Ethnic Intimidation Ordinance.
I make a motion.
Second?
That's to open the public hearing.
Public hearing, yes.
751,
Yes.
Lynn Blasey,
This one. The minority and or ethnic intimidation.
Well, again, Mayor and Council, I'm gonna take a second to read the ordinance out loud, just so everybody knows what we're talking about, since there's a limited time in public hearings. One, a person is guilty of minority or ethnic intimidation if that person maliciously and with specific intent to intimidate or harass another person because of that person's race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or natural origin, does any of the following. A, causes physical contact with another person. B, damages, destroys, or defaces any real or personal property of another person. C, threatens, by word or act, to do an act described in subdivision A or B, if there is a reasonable cause to believe that an act described in subdivision A or B will occur. 2, minority or ethnic intimidation is a misdemeanor published by imprisonment for not more than 93 days in jail or by a fine of not more than $500 or both. 3, the offense shall be considered a separate offense from other crimes against persons or property under the laws of the City of Hamtramck and may be charged as an additional offense to such offense. My concerns and questions around this ordinance stem from the separation of this offense from other crimes. Currently, those who are destroying people's personal property are being charged with malicious destruction of property. And I'm curious if this would be a double charge. And because most of the perpetrators are children, I'm curious whether their families would be charged with malicious destruction of property in addition to violation of this new ordinance as well. I'm also concerned about addressing the root of these issues. I think it would be better spent if we focus on building bridges and creating activities across our city that bring people together, increase understanding, and as public officials, as elected officials, you are role models to the community and should be modeling these behaviors of how to reach out, extend a hand, build relationships with people who are different than yourselves, and learning from our differences, embracing our differences, so we can all be better together. I don't think this resolution, this new ordinance would do that. I think, and that's it, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
So I think we just discovered an issue, the wrong, resolution was attached.
The resolution is fine, it's the wrong version.
The wrong version of the ordinance, I guess, was attached.
Somehow the original version got attached. The amended one from last meeting should be on here.
You probably need to read it, so
Yeah.
people know the difference.
Right.
So the difference here is,
Can you turn on your mic, please, just in case?
the difference here is Part B, damages, destroys, or defaces any real or personal property of another person. And subsection I, this can include the placing of any objects upon the vehicle of another, of any kind when done as a means of intimidation or with intent to harass. I believe that's the only change.
Okay, Ramesh?
Good evening again. As I mentioned before, my name is Ramesh Vadud. I'm an attorney with the ACLU of Michigan. And I wanted to spend some time talking about this ordinance and the issues that the ACLU of Michigan has with the City of Hamtramck considering the ordinance and potentially passing it. I'll start off by saying that I understand the importance of addressing hate and discrimination in Hamtramck, anywhere. The ACLU is all for that, but this ordinance is just not the way to do that, for a few reasons. And I'll start with the first one, is that, in our opinion, the ordinance is wholly unnecessary. There's already a state ethnic intimidation law that is identical, word for word, for the most part, to this proposed ordinance. The ordinance doesn't accomplish anything additional beyond what the state law does. On top of that, if the concern, which has been raised multiple times, if the concern is vandalism or defacement or destruction of private property, there are also already laws on the books addressing malicious property destruction. And so, on top of that, this ordinance would be even less effective in addressing property destruction and property defacement as those laws, because it carries obviously the additional requirement of showing that the damage was discriminatory in some way. And so, we have a state ethnic intimidation law on the books, we have malicious destruction of property laws on the books, and so this ordinance really isn't doing much at all. All the ordinance is accomplishing is expanding the power of the City of Hamtramck to criminalize its residents and its visitors for conduct that's already criminalized at the state level. And so, whenever there's a superfluous or redundant law like this, especially one that carries jail time, that's something that the ACLU takes issue with. On top of that, this ordinance poses pretty serious constitutional concerns, and it opens up the city to pretty significant legal exposure. This ordinance, and I quote it, criminalizes any threats by word or act to do an act described in the previous subsections. As you're all well aware, the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects a lot of speech that some of you could deem a threat, while others, including a lot of courts, would deem advocacy. We've seen this type of restriction in other jurisdictions around the country being used to go after protesters, to go after activists who simply criticize the government and call for protest. The government often says those calls for action are criminal threats, and they try to go after those protesters, those activists, using ordinances like this. But time and time again, courts have found that the protesters' speech is protected. And so obviously this all depends on how this ordinance will be enforced. And so the ACLU will be watching very closely if it comes to a point where the City Council approves this ordinance and starts to enforce it. Finally, we have some serious concerns about how this ordinance came up in the first place. I'll be honest, coming into this room, I was pretty heartened, delighted to see that the City Council had made some changes to the ordinance from last week's version, removed subsection BI, which specifically referred to placing objects on vehicles, but it turns out that was a mistake. And so the concerns I have about that subsection are renewed, and it's, you know, we can be honest here, it's clearly connected to recent controversies regarding the city's flag ban and the resulting response from the community. This version of the ordinance with subsection BI targets the placement of objects on vehicles. From what I've heard, from what I've read, that's a direct response to stickers or other objects being placed on elected officials' cars. Speaking specifically about this ordinance and generally speaking, turning a personal vendetta into a law that carries jail time is extremely inappropriate, especially wielding the language of ethnic intimidation or hate crimes or minority discrimination to accomplish that goal. It won't be a successful goal even if this ordinance is passed, but I sincerely hope that this ordinance isn't passed. And I'll close with a bit of a more personal point. As you can see, I have brown skin. I'm a practicing Muslim. I can think of so many times where an ordinance like this would have been helpful to me, right? Where this ordinance could have been enforced against someone who did any of the things that were mentioned in this ordinance. But that's not the type of help I'm seeking. I'm not seeking to confront an attacker and send them to jail for something they said or did to me. I'm seeking to reconcile with that person. And I think that what this ordinance does is that it further divides a city that has been opening up divisions so frequently recently, and it doesn't address the root issue of why we have those divisions and why we're afraid to address them directly and in the spirit of community. And so by sending people off to jail or by fining them, penalizing them for whatever conduct that the city council thinks this ordinance covers, that is simply the wrong way to go when it comes to coming together as a community, and it only further serves to divide the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
And before you go, so we were accused of just watching the vandalism that was happening to the LGBTQ and doing nothing, as some people said. So we have to come up with something to protect the LGBTQ from any kind of vandalism. I have heard the stories that the police goes to some kids' houses. Some people received a ticket for $1,000. I don't know based on what law was that. We found no route even in the state to give $1,000 ticket to a kid who vandalized a flag or removed it from somewhere. So we had to balance. I mean, it's not only based on personal experience, but we personally experienced that. But we heard it from a lot of people that some also stickers were placed on some people's property. So are you okay with that being done to some citizens? Because we're trying to prevent it and not give a cause for those kids to go and vandalize some people's houses by overreacting to what's happening from the other side. We just want to stop it from both sides. That's the goal of this resolution. But you are saying that it's okay to keep it, protect the LGBT from doing any kind of vandalism, but leave it open for them to do any kind of vandalism to other people on their cars and and properties. How is that?
If I may answer, I appreciate the question, Mayor. I'm not talking about any specific type of intimidation. This ordinance covers ethnic intimidation, national origin, race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, whatever it may be. I'm saying that this ordinance is not the right approach to things. It carries up to 93 days in jail. Obviously, that's a decision for prosecutors and the courts, and the decision to enforce this law in the first place is up to police officers and the police department. But like I said, going back to my first point, there is already a state law on the books that says pretty much the exact same thing. There's already laws on the books that address vandalism and destruction of property. If the issue is that we don't have tools to address this, that's simply not the case. There are state law tools, there are other local ordinances that address these issues. What we're doing here is adding another tool that's entirely superfluous, that carries jail time, to address issues that have come up because of degrading community relations. And so I think the focus here should be repairing community relations instead of criminalizing and penalizing any departure from being one cohesive community.
Thank you. Claude Silvera.
Hello.
Good evening.
Thank you for hearing my comment. I want to apologize for speaking in a kind of plain manner, but I'm just sort of an ordinary person, to say that I do not trust this resolution. I know that the language has changed, but aspects of the original language, and I am talking about the flag portion, lead me to have the impression that the law is coming about because of an interpersonal dispute that should be handled by adults acting like adults, not through the mechanism of city government. But that's my impression. Since I also want to thank you then for what you said, because it does clear up maybe some more things that are going on. To that, I guess I want to say, why should anybody be facing an extra penalty for something that's already illegal if they harass someone else? Nobody should be harassing anybody. But passing this law probably won't be noticed by kids who did some vandalism or by adults who did some protest or vandalism or actions that it won't be noticed, and it won't make those people change their behavior. I agree with somebody else who was commenting, saying that we could try to build a bridge so that people realize that they're harassing each other and making each other feel bad, and that they should just stop doing that. Instead, we're kind of just creating a sort of an escalation, it seems to me. And so if this passes, that's how it will seem to me, that the city government is engaged in kind of escalation around this tension. And that's not going to make me feel better for the kids that live on my street, and it's not going to make me feel better for the queer people, including myself, who live here, or anybody who's living here. I don't think that it's going to make people's lives better. Thank you again for hearing my comment. And as a final note, also please don't buy those cameras. I think it's a waste of money.
Thank you. Gracie Faye?
Hi again, gentlemen.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
So, we all know why this ordinance exists. Because of our response to your flag ban. And our response to you gutting public comment. You guys brought about every sticker, every poster, every action that has occurred from the queer community to represent this council has been by your own design. You guys elected that. You chose to do that on June 13th when I stood up here and I told you, if you chose to brand your hate as civic government, we would respond, we would resist, we would protest you. On that hill across from this building, I stood out there 2 weeks later and I called for the same action I'm going to call for now. If you pass this resolution, I am calling on the queers of Hamtramck to once again paper the fuck out of this city with stickers, with protests, and with outright dissent to what you're doing. If you want to have an honest conversation between our community, now is the opportunity. Now is the time for us to talk and figure out how we go ahead and coexist with each other, rather than nitpicking and sniping each other with political actions and direct actions from the queers. So if you truly, truly want to govern, I'm right here. I'm one of the leaders of the queers. Talk to me. I'm standing in front of you and I'm asking you to talk to me before you pass another law that is only going to harm your community. Because again, I'm gonna say it. White people aren't your friends, gentlemen. They're not here to support you. They don't like what you've built here. If you pass this law, and they ever get a slim bit of power in this city, do you think they won't weaponize it against you? For a second? Think about that. You create another law, they will weaponize it immediately. So let's chat, let's talk. Anybody? Crickets? That's fine. Again, I'm calling for the queers of Hamtramck to resist, obstruct, deny, and otherwise frustrate all of you until we come to an understanding that we can exist together, but you have to stop being dicks. Have a good evening.
Well, thank you for all that threatening language. You haven't heard from the other side though. We are preventing any counter protest. So if you think that small fraction from Hamtramck can make it look like it's all queer, that's not gonna happen. I met with a couple of people to try to understand each other, and the first condition they put is put the flags in front of the city hall in Joseph Campus. So how do you expect to reach a solution when you come with a condition like that? So it's not gonna happen. You have to come to a compromise. You can't come and put a condition, do this or we're not gonna get along. That's not gonna happen. I mean, when the flag resolution passed in 2021 and was raised here in front of the city hall, nobody did anything. Although it was against the majority of the people, the will of the majority. They were just silent. They didn't cause any problem. They didn't divide the community. They didn't, put all these tricks. Even in the festival, you change the traditional order of the groups that march, and you put the queer flag behind the city officials, while it's supposed to be city officials, county, state officials. You came with an order that's out of the ordinary. You are the one who's causing all this tension, not us. I mean, we just passed a resolution, we listened to you, we're willing to talk. I met with a couple of people. We will meet again, but you can't come and threaten us like that. Remember, the other community is silent now, and they can protest too. And it's gonna be less safer. We are holding all that to de-escalate the problem, to remove the tension in the community. But you can't just come and just threaten us like that, like, there's nobody in Hamtramck to resist you. You can resist as much as you want. We listen peacefully, but others can do the same. And we're not gonna reach a compromise. But again, we are willing to compromise, we are willing to talk. I have a meeting coming soon with some of your representatives, and we will talk nicely, not in this kind of language to threaten each other. Keep going.
And then also, just a heads up, please watch your language. Josh Hansen.
Hello, I'm one of the many leaders of many queer organizations in this city. We don't work together, but we work alongside one another. We have our own organizations and our own institutions. One of the things that none of our organizations or institutions do is organize the Labor Day Festival or the parade. I had no idea I was going to be marching against you, or next to you, until I read about it in the news that you moved away from us. Now, I actually want to talk about this flag ban resolution because this is incredibly concerning on how you are governing our city. Specifically, the fact that you are having a second reading and trying to go through the process of passing a public ordinance that has consequences, fines, jail time. However, you're not doing the due diligence of making this available to the public. The fact that you're attaching wrong documentation to the things that you send out for the people to know what you're trying to do, and then to come here and be prepared to talk about it, and then it changes during this meeting. So anybody who didn't hear that, oh, you actually are putting in the ordinance with the stickers on the vehicle's part instead of the one that was posted without it, they might not have even shown up because they wouldn't have had that issue. Because like somebody said before, people show up when they have an issue. So, first of all, I am disappointed in the way that you are not providing information to the public in a reasonable, accountable amount of time. And this has been brought up by many people over several weeks, over several months, about getting these minutes before the meeting. And that's not a way to run our government. And on top of that, continuing to introduce resolutions at the beginning of the meeting, yes, is your prerogative, but it is also another way for you to skirt around public accountability for your choices and your actions. So when you put on a resolution or an ordinance without giving people the time to prepare, it is undemocratic and it is against the institutions of this nation. You need to do better about that part. Thank you.
Greg Mayering? Can I see what the sign is? Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the public hearing, so I can't do that. Thank you, though. Is there anything you want to speak in regards to the public hearing?
What can I speak about?
About the ordinance for the ethnic intimidation ordinance?
No.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, that's all for public comment.
Okay, thank you. So, can I get a
Yes.
Motion to close?
Yeah.
Yes.
Second.
I'm sorry, who motioned?
Councilman Rafai?
And it's 8:16.
Yes.
Now we need a motion to discuss, please.
I motion?
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
so previous couple of speaker already speak about the Michigan state law. We already have the law. So we already have the law and we little bit tune up make another law which is feeding to this diverse community. I don't know what their problem. So, and some of the speaker came here talking about the more jail time, more punishment. If you don't do all those stuff, you don't have to worry about it. More jail time, more punishing time. Maybe you're doing that. This law gonna stop you to doing that, a part of that. And some of the speakers don't know even, came to the talk about the public hearing, about the resolution, ordinance, and in the silent mode. So somebody first, you guys have to understand what and why you coming for. And the speaker, some of the speaker was very rude. We do have organization to train, teach you guys how to speak politely, gently, and common sense. So welcome to our organization. Then I can teach you and train you how to speak in the environment, like a gentleman environment, and we can train you guys how to speak. And this law is perfectly fit for Hamtramck, and I'm supporting this law.
Anyone else?
No, sir.
No more discussion?
So again, I have seen a lot of ordinances or papers sent to people's houses where it says, first offense $100, second offense this or 90 days jail time. This is not the first one to refer to jail time. There's so many of them, including some small violations. If you don't do this, clean that, remove that, first offense this, second offense include jail time. I've seen so many by our city from previous lawmakers in the past, so this is not the first one. And like Mayor Pro Tem said, I'm not worried even if it's 10 years jail time, because I have no intention to vandalize anybody's properties. So why should I worry if I have no intention to do it? Only people who have intentions to keep doing it are the ones who are worried about that. So it might be just to symbolize, make people think before they do anything. Make those kids who do the vandalism to stop, think about it by their parents, and instead of getting punishments for that. I don't know where it's coming from. The state doesn't say $1,000 ticket, or go scare the hell out of them to their houses. 12, 13 years old kids I'm not saying that in support of what they do. I said it many times. I denounce any kind of vandalism. And this is one way to just express our rejection to this kind of vandalism, whether it's to you or to others. It's just a two-way street to stop it from both sides, to not give a cause for somebody else to react to what you do. So I don't know why some people are worried if you have no intention to keep doing it. I'm not worried because I have no intention to do it. Put 10 years in jail, I don't care, because I'm not gonna do it. So, I don't know if anybody else has something to say?
Mr. Chair, if nobody speak, I miss couple of things about this.
Yes, Karibu.
Okay, so, personal property. So, my sign under the organization name is my organization personal property. Is the example. Somebody writes something in my forehead, they are not sure. Somebody put the sticker in my mouth, in my poster. So those kinds of things is not the gentleman attitude. And also, who did this, not practicing the law. So this is the example, another one, to make you practice the good law. Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilor Musa?
I like to support our first constitutional right, freedom of speech.
I'm sorry, Councilman, is your speaker on, is your mic on? Is the light lit on your mic?
It is,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But if I do not agree with you, then you told me I'm supporting not your opinion. If my opinion is not, you don't like it, so then you're gonna bring a poster, say, I do not listen to you. This is really, really unfortunate. And when you have the public comment, you have to come into here, and previous, my reporter explained this, you have to come here and talk, not for the, show me the reading, Hampton doesn't want to listen to you. I want to listen to you until you have to be, listen to us. And politics is a compromise. So Mayor, our Honorable Mayor already talked to the audience, the people who bring this issue. Yes, we are ready to talk to you, but not you if your demand. If I fill up your demand, so you don't need to talk to me, or you don't need to talk to the authorities. And I'm again telling you guys, our mayor already talked to you. Lot of people, we are diversity community. Lot of people don't like those options also. If they're gonna bring this another rally against of you, it will be a big chaos. So we want to listen to you, but bring a compromised mind. And politics is a compromise. We like to discuss with you and get a good resolution from there. Thank you to listening me.
Thank you. And
Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
you will be next. So, important point he said, I mean, if we disagree, doesn't mean that we hate you. If I disagree with you, you can't call me bigot or a terrorist, you know? You all seen those posters on the street and trash cans with my picture, terrorist, under it. Who did that? I mean, I don't need an answer. I know who did it and who shared it and who supports that. And you come to warn me about the Republicans, and you are acting worse than, it shows like, I'm not saying you, but whoever did this are basically Islamophobes, because you are not just accusing me, you are labeling every Muslim as a terrorist, and we know how that comes from, and where did it come from. So I'm just giving you an example. So who's escalating the problem in the city? I disagree with you, but it doesn't mean that yeah, definitely, yeah. That's why I call you a terrorist, right? Who calls the other names? Who did it? Some of the most important public figures in the community, they call them community pillars in our, throwing all these words and accusations, which is disrespectful and I don't know what else can I say, but it shows what kind of hate we have in our community. And just I'm saying, if we disagree, it doesn't mean that we hate each other. But some people go just too extreme. Anyways, Councilman Chaudhry, please go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank every one of you being here tonight and putting your comments. It's very I respect that your comments, it really matters. But as you heard from the mayor and the council, that we try to work with you guys. We try to have a conversation, but every time we try to have a conversation, we find that you have one thing that you wanted to have your way first. You don't want to work out with the best majority in the city. And I would have voted for, if I was a council member in another city and then you were the best majority, I would have voted for you or supported you. The thing is, in this community, the people of the community, the vast majority paying the taxes are deserve their respect. And that doesn't mean that I don't like you or I don't want you to be around here. I have friends in the LGBTQ. I have business partners. I have this. But how you guys are reacting is overwhelming and very disrespecting. If you have come to with the compromisation and respectfully, we would work out. We will have a common ground. I won't say anything further, but I do think that this is necessary. Our mayor has taken the steps. I appreciate that, and I want peace in the community for all people. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I guess we are done with discussion. We can go ahead and vote.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al-Sardi,
Yes.
Councilman Rafai,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-123B approved.
Thank you. I hope not to see anybody go to jail. It's the resolution, so anyways. We start with the new businesses. We have A, Resolution 2023-135A, approving first reading and setting date for second reading and public hearing of the amendment to Lumpkin rezoning, amendment to the Hamtramck zoning map.
I make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I have Ms. Faulkner here to discuss this. It's actually pretty exciting.
Hi, everybody. Hi, council. Hi, mayor. Happy to present this. So this is part of the Metro Baking expansion. They need to expand their facility. They have a lot of demand for their products. They plan on adding a lot of jobs to the city, but they just need more space to be competitive with, other companies. The location is 8711, 8719, 8727, 8731, and 8737 Lumpkin Street. It's just north of the current property, so in the board docs, there's this report which has photos and a map as well showing the parcels that are being requested for rezoning. They have also submitted a site plan application which is separate, and that is where we're going over landscaping and screening and, buffers and things like that. So this is just to set the public hearing will be 2 weeks from now. I'll do a full presentation at that point. The applicant will also be here at that point to do a full presentation. So I'll have a longer presentation, and they will be here as well to do a presentation, and that would be in 2 weeks. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you. Thank you. And so do they intend to ask for tax break again? They haven't finished the first one, right?
So this is a different property. As far as I know, they've never asked for a tax abatement.
Okay.
And at the planning commission meeting, because this had to go to planning commission before coming here, they were asked that directly. Actually, I don't think they were even asked it, but they just said, we're not trying to get an abatement. We won't be asking for a tax abatement. They're funding it themselves. It's gonna add a lot of jobs to the city. He said publicly, it's in our notes, that they're not gonna be asking for one.
All right, that's good.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman Rafai.
To add to this, and I'm glad that actually they're gonna put something on this lot that's been vacant for many years, especially in the south end. So for them to actually expand, that's a good thing, and I'm happy they're doing that. And on the other hand, they're gonna hire more maybe Hamtramck residents. So I'm happy with this, and I'm glad that they're moving forward with this. And if you may, when are they planning to? What's the plan to start construction?
They're hoping to start next month. We would actually have to bring the site plan next at the next meeting in 2 weeks, as well as the rezoning kind of back to back. So you
Okay.
get a chance to see the site plan at that time, but they're two separate processes. The rezoning is a separate process than the site plan, so then you get to see what the site will look like. As part of the site plan application, they are planning on routing the trucks onto St. Aubin and off of Lumpkin, which means less truck traffic for the residential neighborhood.
I'm Lumpkin, okay.
Yeah, they're hoping to get this out relatively fast. We're trying to fast track it for them so that they can get it before the snow flies. We also talked to them at length about landscaping and trying to, make it even nicer for the community in that area, so.
Yep.
Sounds like a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I'm done with it, so.
All right. You wanna say?
Isn't they gonna change it from the resident to the commercial? They gonna build or they gonna leave it empty lot?
They're planning on building next month, as long as,
They're
and they
gonna
have to
build.
get approvals from everybody, engineering, planning. So if all goes well, they would be building next month. And it's not going to commercial, it's rezoning to industrial, which is different than commercial. So it's not the same zoning as like the central business district, it's industrial. Because this is an industrial plant for making bread.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and.
There's a bug.
I see it.
I'm looking at Joe. Okay, Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Rafai.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-135A approved.
Thank you.
Are they bringing bread next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Do you want them to bring free bread?
Bread and basket?
This is an example.
All right, the next one is Resolution 2023-126 to approve the purchase of mini split cooling unit for the second floor council chambers.
Motion.
Second.
All right.
John is here if you have any direct questions. We have visited this before. We were asked to revisit it, so we'll bring it before you again for your consideration.
I did do a little follow-up, somebody said give another bid. I did get one bid, written bid for $21,000. I had 2 no-shows and a verbal on the phone that said anywhere from 16 to 25. So that's where we stand on the bid, so. Right now, the way it's presented is with the contractor we've been normally using here in the city.
All right.
That's all?
Cool. Yeah, we talked about it
Yeah, you
before.
discussed it.
Yeah, we discussed it.
New-
Yeah.
All right.
So just in case you forget, this
Let's
unit
all
also
agree.
does heat too, so a lot of
Just-
people don't know that this unit does have the capability of heating.
Yeah,
Should the
yes.
boiler system go down, this system could go on and offer a supplemental heat source.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Rafai,
No.
Councilman Hassan,
No.
Councilman Al Samiri,
No.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
No.
It's not up to you. No, I'm not calling you to vote, I'm telling you that it's passed.
How?
No,
There's-
he's tied. He's
Wait, 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 wait.
He already answered.
Already his answer already.
Oh, I apologize, so you said no,
That's it.
oh,
Yeah, I don't want to be blamed for this.
Back bothering you.
okay. Mr. Mayor?
I mean,
Resolution-
it's now winter time, so probably for next year's budget, we discuss it again. We don't need it urgently at this time, so
Okay.
let's visit it next time, next year.
Remember, it's gonna do the heating
Okay, so
job
you
too.
already vote call.
Next year's budget will be way into the summer already now. Next
So
year's
you
budget will
already
start July 1st.
decided.
July 1st, it would be the
I-
summer already.
We don't have to do everything in one
Yeah.
year's budget, so it seems like we want to renovate everything this year, which is risky, I think, so,
For the next
sorry,
resolution.
sorry to disappoint you.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-126 fails.
Okay.
Next one, Resolution 2023-136, approving citywide sidewalk sales on October 6th and 7th, 2023.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I have Alessandro to speak on this. It's something we've done in the past and hope to do again. It's hopefully energizing the businesses. Go ahead.
How you doing? Here with CED department. So we've been working at the DDA. I run the DDA's meetings and programs, and we've been working very hard on this. So this was something that the DDA used to do years ago, which was kind of doing a blanket, allowing businesses to open their business on the sidewalk. So pretty much lifting. Currently, businesses are not allowed to have business on the sidewalk unless they have a sidewalk cafe permit within the zoning ordinance. So pretty much for mainly food establishments, they can have service on the sidewalk. There's some businesses take advantage of. So this would be pretty much, it's split in two. So there's October 6th, is a Friday. That is encouraging late night shopping. So a lot of businesses, especially on Joseph Campo, close 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So that is pretty much an encouraging to businesses all over the city, so not just the DDA, to be open late. And we encourage 10 p.m., but it's up to what businesses want to do. And then we would kind of let people know that this is happening. We have funding from the DDA for advertisement, so we would be doing advertisement mainly through Facebook, paid advertisement, to encourage people to attend the businesses that sometimes they can't go to because they work certain hours. And then on Saturday, we have an all-day sidewalk sale, so this would be pretty much within this resolution is to allow for businesses to operate on a sidewalk, which that day, how Linda mentioned earlier, there is the Hamtramck Neighborhood Arts Festival, which is an annual festival where residents who are creatives or artists open up their homes to explore studios and spaces that they're created. And that brings a lot of people into the city, so people are going to be walking around from areas of the city to another area of the city. So this is a great opportunity to catch those people and for them to take advantage of businesses that they might not have known of. Or some people that are driving through the city, they don't really know what a lot of the businesses are, but when they're on the sidewalk, they would. And then there's funding allotted for prize, so the business with the best outdoor display, and then the business with the best kind of like social media regarding this. So yeah, so just asking for approval, and it's something that DDA is very passionate about, and Max said it was something that was ages ago was done. I'm trying to just bring it back because it'll be really great for the city.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Pai.
I'm happy that, I like the name,
Yeah, shop.
that kind of presents
Yeah, across the world.
the whole world. Just a reminder for businesses, whoever is gonna actually have anything outside, just not to block the sidewalks.
Exactly. So we are
So there's-
making ADA compliant kind of wording. So people are going to have to allow 3 feet at least for ADA requirements. So we are including that with. We're going to go door to door businesses
Okay.
and explain that visually. So we have visuals made for that compliance.
All
So,
right,
yeah,
sounds,
thank
because
you.
I know there's other businesses that their sidewalk is really
Exactly.
small, so I don't know where they're
So
gonna
some businesses
place.
do take advantage of it right now, which is not allowed, having some displays on the outside. So this would pretty much legalize it for everybody to do it. But yes, agreed.
All right, sounds
Thank you for
good.
that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Councilman Chaudhry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Alessandro, we did this last year too, right? How did it go? Was it any successful? Was it?
Sure we did it last
I
year.
don't think
This,
so.
this is the first time we did.
We haven't, no.
Maybe you
It's
can,
been a few
maybe there's the yard sale, which is the similar, it's like a citywide
Oh,
yard
okay,
sale,
so-
but I don't know if we did the, like.
Something I
businesses.
remember we opened the sidewalks for during the right after the COVID.
That was before the COVID, they used to do it.
Oh,
Yes,
It wasn't
exactly.
something like this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, is this only just the 2 days, 6th and 7th, or it's
Yeah.
going to continue
This would be for the 2 days,
2 days only?
yeah.
I see.
But.
So I
business-
can send this message to the communities, that
Exactly,
it's
so
only.
once it's approved, yeah, it'll be for the 2 days.
2 days only.
But businesses are allowed to get a permit if they wanna operate on the outside, so I know some businesses that are interested in that.
Sure.
That we work with. And this is a great way for people to know as well that it is allowed. So we can kinda see how the city reacts to it and then get businesses encouraged to kind of
Sure.
grow visibility.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's interesting. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mayor
so
Pro Tem.
Mr. Chaudhary was right. Right after election, we did the permission for the sidewalk and they're still existing. This is specifically for 2 days. So he was
Yeah, I
right, we
remember
have done
something.
something.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Is anybody, is it open for anybody to open the shop, or they have to pull the permit?
Business,
No permit. So this resolution would kind of make the permit for everybody, so no permits. As long as you have as you're compliant with the ADA requirements, which is allowing 3 feet in the sidewalk, and with general compliance with.
And if we
businesses.
pass this resolution today, this is for October 6th and 7th.
Exactly, so that
For
Friday and Saturday.
2023. If you need to do it 2024,
We have to
bring the
recast it,
specific.
yeah, so this is just for this.
Thank you.
It's a trial base.
So yeah, hopefully we wanna get it going to become an annual thing if it does really well, and I think it would
They're
be a
gonna
great
go more days.
opportunity.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead,
vote.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Rafai.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-136 approved.
All right, thank you. The next one is Resolution 2023-128, approving the purchase of windows for the City Hall DPS offices.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Mayor, John here again, trying to get rid of the residential windows out of the first floor, and secure them and replace them.
And just an update on this, before we came through, we had a broad spectrum of 500,000 to $1 million doing the windows. Upon actually getting the window contractor out here working on the clerk's office windows, we did a test window there that built a frame on site to see how they could order it, what they can do to make them keep the historical value of the building, make it look proper when it's done. But you also discovered that a lot of the windows that were gonna cost us about $1,900, which are the circle tops, we could actually just replace the insert of the glass in instead of the frames, which brought the cost down on those windows to $300 a unit. So the overall window bid, no matter when you decide to do it or what parts you decide to do, is gonna come in a lot less than what we originally thought, just because of finding out we can use some of the frames.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
so it's nothing personal. Those resolution came, the cost, last council meeting, and I stick with my decision. This year, I don't want to expend any monies. I want to see I can survive until next year. So that is my opinion.
So, Mr. Chair, the city, if you go to the front view, it really look terrible, all those windows. I think we should come to an agreement instead of coming, talking, and not coming to a solution, to come up with something that we need to, I think is this building desire to get some nice windows to look a nicer view when you come to the city. We all talk about, we want to make our city presentable, looks more nicer, then when it come to the action, we all decided no. So I don't know how this is gonna go, so I'll request my colleagues to reconsider it.
Now, these are just an issue of just looking nice.
Mr. Chair.
The windows actually don't work.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair? Oh.
Yes, Councilman Abu Musa, and then we'll go back to Mayor Pro Tem.
Actually, Hamtramck City diversity community, 2 square mile, we have like 19 different language people speaking there. A lot of people coming to visit our community, our city hall. And I agree with Councilor Mahmood, it looks a little bit odd. If we spend a little bit more money to make it beautification, looks nicer, presentable, I suggest to everybody to spend some money down to make a little bit nicer our front city of Hamtramck.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so still, if it's not damaged, I still can make it nicer. Clean, paint it again, it looks nice again. So that is my question. That is my thing I'm talking. I'm not against this to not making the beauty. Yeah, we can make the beauty without replace. That is my concept.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I don't know, we can paint the windows.
And the silicone it.
You can't even close the windows, they don't close.
Exactly. Mr. Chair, if I may.
Councilman Chowdhury, go
Well,
ahead.
folks, remember, this building is pretty old. It was a hospital, and over the years is deteriorating. That word I can get it together. That's a hard word. But this is also safety of our building, the most important thing. And we're spending $1,400 to range $7,000. If you look at those invoices that we approved earlier under the consent agenda, over $500,000 we approved for so many things. Maybe it's for things that we are utilizing. But this is a window that is going to be permanently installed and is going to last longer. We may not be here, but someone is going to be here, and that people of the community will appreciate that. It's just permanent things. I don't understand. It's so easy, simple thing. I know we're going to be impacting the budget, but here we are spending on other things that causing the budget to be deficited. Now, you don't want to spend small things that is matter to the building and the community. I think, we should we consider this. John has been here 3 times already with these things. And then you were expecting him to come back next year with this. I think it's ridiculous. We should be able to afford this. It's for this building. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one question. I'm sorry, you want to go ahead?
If you don't mind. John, how many windows that don't lock?
Huh?
How many windows that don't lock?
I believe in my office, 5 of 7 of them don't lock. Actually, some of them don't even close. They stay open a little bit.
So
The problem is that somebody put the junkiest windows in here about 30 years ago or 40 years ago. And they're not a commercial window, they're a residential house window. And then on top of it, they didn't install them correctly. They weren't even the right size, they padded it out with a bunch of wood. That's why it's taking a little longer to get the clerks done. I sent the guy out here to pull a window out to see actually what was going on with this building. And they had all kinds of pieces, that's why the trim on the building was like 6 inches wide. Now he says, oh, he brought the frame material, he actually cut the frame to fit on site. We ripped all that extra wood out of there, a lot of it was ant damage. He made the window actually bigger, and then he trimmed it out with trim so we could see actually what it looked like when it's done, and that's why there's a little bit of delay on that. Because if I would have just measured what they did, we'd have a mess outside. Now when we finish the windows, this will be nice, clean, defined, and in solid wood, instead of little pieces of shims and wood, and they're all twisted, and the sun hits them and they warp. That's why usually the first floor is the worst. They don't close good at all.
So are all 5 windows don't close? Are they open as we speak?
Yeah, you can walk down there right now.
And they don't close, though?
Oh, they're closed, but you can just like grab them and move them around.
And then
They
how come previously they've been operating this department, and these windows been there?
I think people are just afraid to ask.
And so, and this is, you're replacing all 5?
There's 1, 2, I think 7, yeah.
It's not in the windows. It's not gonna stop for anything. Every time they're gonna bring a new issue. Every time. 30 years, everything is good. Now everything is happy right now. If you keep it for the next years, there's gonna be some happening. If they keep it for the next years.
Yeah, we're trying to hit the areas with.
If they keep it for the next years, there's gonna be some problem.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
If I may, Councilman, I mean, this is a very old building. It's 100 years old. It's been neglected.
Change
for
the whole
most of
building.
that time. Most of the time we've been in here as a city hall, it's been neglected. Our predecessors didn't pay much mind to it. The city as a whole has been neglected. The infrastructure's been neglected. I thought council wanted to modernize, get infrastructure going, get city hall looking good. You know, we're responding to what we thought council and mayor wanted. We're trying to repair, fix, and bring everything up to par. We're trying to do it right the first time when we do it, rather than, come back 15 times in a row and do it half done. I mean, the windows are.
We need to spend money outside, not to spend
We
money
are.
for the window. The window is not gonna bring the customer.
Councilman,
We need to spend money outside, to fix outside. Outside, everything is bad.
The state representative was talking about.
Okay, for the next years, leave it for the next years. Whatever some big happening, we're gonna fix it. It's not gonna stop. They're gonna every 2 weeks, they're gonna bring a new issue.
May I continue?
Well, is
I
that
don't
not,
wanna-
maybe,
I
Mr.
don't want to
Chairman?
step on the councilman. Councilman, more to the point, we're doing all kinds of stuff outside. I mean, we're paving alleys, we're paving streets, we're doing lead service lines. We literally just today got notified from the Drinking Water Revolving Fund that we're in the running for $15 million for water lines right now.
Yes.
That's up and above the 10 million we just got from the state.
Water line, they're gonna fix it anyway.
We're fixing
Anyway,
everything.
they're gonna fix it anyway.
All right, okay, it seems there's a conspiracy against me today. It seems like I'm gonna be the one who's making the decision, so there's no need for discussion. Just go ahead and vote, it's 3-3, and I'll make the decision.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, John, it's a simple question. Are you able to operate this year with the windows that you have?
Thank you. Simple question.
Simple.
If he said no,
Now you
we're
can
gonna
operate with
approve
no
it.
windows. I mean, I can operate any way I want, you know.
Yeah.
That's not it.
It's
I'm
there.
just saying, you went down there and looked, you'd understand why I'm here.
Councilman, I think the question should be,
Mr. Chair, now if I can interject as the police chief, because now you
Yes.
just announced in a public meeting that you
Yeah.
have 7 windows on the first floor that don't
Exactly.
lock.
Thank you,
So
Jim.
Yeah.
I really think that from a public safety perspective,
Yes.
it's not about making the building look
That's the
pretty.
thing.
It's about what's safe.
Okay.
Yep.
The officers that are in this building at night, for the public, that you need.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
I was gonna say that when he was asking him.
No,
No, we want to clarify.
Exactly.
But now you've just announced everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone-
I mean,
yeah.
and just,
Point, I'm trying to say.
We're not asking to fix the second
Okay.
floor windows that don't close.
These don't
well, I was gonna say, it's just,
I'm not gonna say yes for anything.
Let's go now.
Let's go ahead, please.
yeah,
You can say
for me,
whatever you want.
yeah, it seems like I'm the one who's gonna make the decision, so for 7,000, honestly, I would say yes, and I would make it clear in the beginning.
Let it be in the middle.
I don't wanna say no
We're
to
gonna put it
everything.
in the
Let's go to the
middle
vote
anyway.
then.
Let's
It
vote.
seems that the
Let's
next
vote,
one.
yep.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
No.
Councilman Mahmoud.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I apologize, you did say no.
I say yes. What's going on?
That's why you've been saying no, 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 and then you
The young lady, stand up.
He switched up.
Young lady.
Am I hearing right?
Young lady, stand up.
Explain it.
Well,
Right. Okay, so yes, no, thank you.
Really?
Councilman Mahmoud.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilman Chowdhury.
yes.
Councilman Musa.
Yes.
Councilman Rafai.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-128 approved.
No tied.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the next one, if I have to break the tie, whoever pays for my dinner, I will vote for it. All right.
You might.
The next one is Resolution 2023-130, approving the purchase of mini split cooling unit for the second floor IT room.
This is kind of critical.
Hold on, I got a motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
Thank
hold
you.
on. Mr. Mayor, I told John and the police chief and myself on this one, this is a significant material weakness. We essentially have window air conditioning units supporting our IT room, and you guys can continue.
Well, Chief, are we gonna have officers tonight watching for the DPS windows before?
No, let's go.
No, look, we have mechanisms
No.
to
No,
keep them
no.
from opening. Like, it's not like anybody can go and open them. They put bars in them, but
No, I know.
they
Okay.
play it up a little.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
So, in regards to the second floor IT room, that's the room that's in the police department. It does support all of the IT equipment for City Hall, the fire department, the courts, the police department, our radios, our 911 system. As the city manager said, these are window air conditioners that have been in there since this building was reconditioned for the police department and everyone else to be in here. These units are not supporting that IT equipment. They run 24 hours a day. They've been replaced numerous times. At any minute, you can go in there and find out that one of them has failed, and unless you're in that room every single day, all the time, you're not gonna know that until something happens, and then the equipment starts to overheat. So again, this is another important purchase, I believe, that really needs to support the IT equipment for all of City Hall and the other departments.
And they did quite a bit of engineering on this to find out the heat count in that room. It took quite a while to find out exactly what they needed to put in there, and they're actually putting in a pretty large unit, a lot larger than I thought would have been needed in that room to keep that room cool, because it just generates so much heat with the computers in there.
All right. Let's
For vote?
Mr. Mayor? Councilman Rafai.
No.
Councilman Musa.
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury.
Yes again.
Councilman Mahmoud.
I always like to modify everything, so I am yes always.
Councilman Al Samiri.
No.
Councilman Hassan.
No.
Mr. Mayor?
So since I rejected the first air condition thing, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say no for this one too. Apologize.
So Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-130 fails.
And the next one will fail.
Yeah, that's the one needed. They don't get it.
can bring it again if you think it's that.
Let's go F.
Second.
Next one is Resolution 2023-133, approving the purchase of mini split cooling unit for the DPS office area.
Motion.
Second.
We don't have to approve this one today, but.
I'm not gonna have it.
But by next spring, we would have to, because we wouldn't be able to have air conditioners in the new windows.
Open
So
the
when
window.
the windows go
I
hand
think
in
it
hand
will
with
be
the
cool.
air conditioning units.
Okay.
Gentlemen, like, I'll remove
The,
this.
the most important one we failed, and
All right, no discussion?
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
I don't
vote.
think they understand. It's-
Open the window and it's gonna be cool. Okay, go ahead.
We're in the IT room or in DPW?
Whatever it is.
I don't
Are
know,
we
in the
voting on
basement.
this now?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Musa,
No.
Councilman Chaudhry,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
No.
Councilman Hassan,
No.
Councilman Rafai.
No.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-133 fails.
Mr. Mayor, you have to buy the lunch for dinner for Musa.
Well, I think we're gonna have to come up with a plan to fix all
Yeah,
the
yeah, no
cooling
problem.
units in every
For the
department,
next.
I think the did came out.
Okay,
We'll see you in the spring.
okay.
and including my office too. Okay, the next one, Resolution 2023-134, approving the contract award for ALPR camera purchase to Flux Safety.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I have the chief here to answer questions. We talk about it.
Okay. As you may recall, we brought a representative from Fox Safety here to give you a presentation. That was just an informational item to kind of let that sit with you for a little while, maybe talk to your constituents to see what you thought about bringing license plate readers, cameras to the city of Hamtramck. Statistics show that crime is on the rise on a national level. An average of 70% of crimes involve the use of a vehicle. The Hamtramck Police Department has been collaborating with neighboring agencies regarding the usage of their license plate reader technology. The use of this technology has assisted our Detective Bureau with several investigations on a wide variety of crimes. I can give you a list of cities in our area that have these cameras, which include the Michigan State Police, the Detroit Police Department, Highland Park Police Department, which obviously you know those are our two surrounding communities, Ferndale, Novi, Roseville, Hazel Park, Sterling Heights, Dearborn Heights, Dearborn, Macomb County Sheriff's Department, and the list goes on and on. It's a very large list of communities in Michigan. There's over 70 that are using this technology. Some things that I heard during public comment, and to give you an idea of some things that this is not. This is not facial recognition. This has nothing to do with who's driving the vehicle, anything like that. It's not facial recognition. It does not take pictures of the driver, anything like that. There is no personally identifiable information. This will not be used for traffic enforcement. The information is not maintained on the server indefinitely. It is only stored for 30 days before it's automatically deleted. There is an audit trail requiring a reason for a database search for one of our detectives to use that information. They have to put the reason and the case number into the system. There is no cell phone data related to this, and it doesn't have anything to do with cell phone data. The data will not be sold to anyone. There is no audio information. These cameras merely take a picture of a license plate, which is something that is visually identifiable to anybody driving down the road. You can see someone's license plate. I can tell you that they help determine whether and which vehicles may have been at the scene of a crime. They cut down on the time required for investigations and assist the investigators with helping to develop and follow leads. They collect objective evidence such as images of a vehicle and a license plate. They can be used to corroborate witness accounts and testimonies related to possible suspect vehicles. Statistics show that, and if you were a victim of a crime, and our crime victims deserve to have their crimes investigated with all available tools and resources that our detectives can provide. There's a case that first brought flock to my attention was a case that originated out of Tennessee. It was a mother that went missing and her vehicle was stolen. That vehicle license plate hit on a Dearborn, Michigan camera, and Dearborn police were able to stop that vehicle. They found the dead body of the woman in the trunk of her own vehicle, and a suspect was arrested. There was an infant that was kidnapped in the state of Georgia and and was located within a few hours using flock technology. These are just very few cases that have helped. They help with Amber Alerts, they help with missing elderly people. The information, the purchase of these cameras will not come from the general fund, they will come from existing narcotic funds. And as we've talked in the past, those funds can only be used for law enforcement purposes. So some of the ideas that were brought up, while they are very great ideas, those are not information and things that we can spend those forfeiture funds on. We have them used for law enforcement purposes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
Chief, can I see that list of cities that are, if you don't mind?
It's open for discussion.
Yes, we motion.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Okay, so previously I bought yes one of the resolution long time ago. I realized I made a mistake long time ago. Give the permission anytime to the Homeland Security come to the my city without our city authorization, they can come. It did not go very well to me, and I don't want to, I'm listening the speakers. So it is proved that also it's not the our way is the highway. That's why we are understandable people here. We don't listen to the speakers, and also some of the speakers say the data, who gonna control it? No matter what, who control it, when agency come, upper agency, that data will be the transfer or invention is gonna be sold. So no matter what, Mr. Councilman, how many cities is doing, the crime level, we are not up to there. Second, I'm not gonna follow the which city doing, I'm gonna follow in my city how I gonna make it. So listen to the speakers, and from my previous mistakes, I think I'm not gonna vote for it.
Mr. Chair, I just want a little debate here maybe. I know that the attorney, Mr. Odud came in and he brought up some concern. As our attorney, what do you think? What is your opinion?
Appreciate it. Yeah, so my opinion is, I share some of the concerns, I guess, that Mr. Wadood made regarding data retention. I don't think we want any, I don't think we want our data being shared with any federal agencies or whatever, like ICE. I think we have an immigrant population that doesn't want, that type of thing happening. At the same time, I think that we can create a policy for our city that states that, for our use with it, and part of that policy can state that we're not sharing it with any federal agencies without a warrant, that we aren't abusing it in any way. For example, one of Rames's main issues with the technology, I mean, really the crux of it, because I had spoken with them, the main issue they have is the length of time that the data is held. They have other concerns, but that's the main concern. And so if that is a concern of the council as well, we can, she said 30 days, we can change it to 14 days or whatever. I mean, I think 30 days is reasonable in my opinion. But if that's something that wants to be up for debate, we can change that. Every technology is ripe for abuse, though. I can't say that it won't be abused. I've heard of technology, I've heard of, the federal government, they have investigative techniques that sometimes law enforcement, for example, uses to spy on their wives or something, and it comes out, and they get in trouble, and they get criminal charges, I think. So it does happen, but I don't think that's the goal here of why they're trying to get it. I think they're trying to get it to solve crimes and make everybody safer. So if it was me, I would support it with, obviously some restrictions.
So in this case, can you ask to bring it back with the remodification, or should they vote it today? And
Sure, it's up to you.
Mr. Mayor, what do you think?
Mr. Chair, the reason I asked for that list, by the way, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I don't see Grosse Pointe, any of Grosse Pointe on there. And that was Bloomfield, so Hamtramck is a safe city. We have never had a big issue here. I think just adding more cameras to our community, that will, cause a lot of destruction and a lot of fuss in our city. My recommendation, I think if we are don't vote for this tonight. Just be done with it. If a lot of cities don't have them, why are we gonna have them? If none of the Grosse Points, has them, and why we should have them? And that's my recommendation.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilman
we
Abu.
heard a couple of citizens about their concern. Before I came in yesterday, some of the people telling me they're concerned about their freedom, and everybody will discuss the different way. At this moment, I thought it is not the best option for us, because our city always people sue against our city. I don't know if some Muslim women or any other women can sue for some reason. So at this moment, I do not want to go for those as some of them.
Thanks for saving me. But anyone else?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to thank our chief to giving the briefing of this flocker. Even though this city is such a small 2.2 square miles, and as far as I know, every business has their own surveillance cameras installed. Even the house has a Ring or other cameras. This is already, I think, interfering with the citizen freedom. Although I do wish to have this some days installed in our city to make much better safer of the community. But it is concern of the freedom of the folks, and things I think if we have it, I'm not very happy with our Hamtramck Police Department right now. I'll be honest with you. I have experienced last 3-4 months such as some of the stuff going on. I had waited 45 minutes an accident right outside of right there on the corner in Evelyn. Every time I call in, they have other issues going on. But when I looked at up the reports that I received, there wasn't any other emergency going on. All they do come in this city, I guess, I don't want to say it as a short of staff, or they're inside the city hall, they're in other things. I don't watch them, I don't monitor them, but they did not show up 2 times to this accident. One time we had an infant in the vehicle and we didn't get the police or the EMS. We had we had to call the Detroit Police Department and the EMS, and they showed up before the Hamtramck, only literally 100 yards away. So I don't think I want to give them the more leverage to watch from their stations and everybody and do their job. I want them to be out there. So therefore, I think I'm not up for it. That's my desire. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead and vote. Unless you want to know what I was going to vote.
You don't need to this time, look like.
Let's see, Councilman Musa,
No.
Councilman Rafai,
No.
Councilman Chowdhury,
No.
Councilman Mahmood,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
No.
Councilman Hassan.
No.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2023-134 fails.
All right, thank you. All right, next one is Resolution 2023-137, approving installation of new stop signs and approval of traffic control orders.
I make a motion.
Second.
That one will go through.
This was originally requested by Councilman Rafai, but I have the chief here to talk about it.
Hi. So, as you know, over the years, we've been improving our traffic safety around the community with things that we can do, including adding stop signs. There were a couple locations that Councilman Rafai had requested. I did go out and survey those areas, and I agree with his recommendation for the addition of a stop sign on Brombeck Street at the intersection of Florian Street, on Latham Street at the intersection of Florian Street, and on Latham Street at the intersection of Poland Street. These are all streets and areas that surround the Oakland International Academy. I think that these additional stop signs will help with traffic safety in that area and to keep our students next to those 3 locations.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Chair, can I have a quick question? I know include this, a few months ago, I bring up to your attention about the, crosswalk from the, it's in Holbrook, yes. from the Masjid side to the senior center, people having little, do you have any plan? I mean, can we include something there?
We actually
Pedestrian sign or something?
So that's not quite as easy as adding stop signs. We actually have Hennessy drawing up some plans for that, all of Holbrook right now. And we're hoping to potentially incorporate all that stuff into it in one shot and bring it to you at a later time.
Like, can you do pedestrian walk and just put some, put a
Sign.
so
Just
people can
sign.
see, or driver can drive a little carefully, because this is elderly people walk, you know, that's,
So there is some concern that, I mean, that's not a very large space between the stop sign and light as it is right now. And it may not actually be a good thing.
Maybe one put the sign, that's all, see how this.
I mean, we are exploring the option, and we are getting plans in order right now, and tying it into the greenway and everything in all one shot, and then, you know, potentially redesigning the whole intersection there all together, but, I don't think it's something we can just easily put a crosswalk there. Now, any suggestions?
I mean, I would think that we could maybe improve the location of Holbrook and Brownback by adding more signage to that crosswalk, repaving the area, making some different kinds of design improvements to that location. Because as you know, we always encourage people to cross at a crosswalk where there is a traffic control device. That exits right out of the senior plaza, and really it is a short walk down to the mosque in that area and other businesses that are located there, but we can do some.
I'm almost concerned that it'll be ignored completely because of the short distance
Yep.
between the traffic.
They might gonna ignore, but still.
I'd hate to put an actual crosswalk there and cars, for all intents and purposes, ignoring it, and it'd be actually more dangerous because it gives the illusion that it is safer.
I would recommend, Mr. Chair, it's just like these kind of things, in an Asian country, a lot of those intersections is not designed. They start building buildings and houses and interfering now the people traffic. This would require to have a flyover. The sky, the cross has to be over this. As an, cross bridge. That would isolate this crosswalk because of the traffic. Because I see this, there has been an accident there many times.
Councilman, how many
People traffic coming from the business and then straight up right away from Holbrook stoplight and flashlight. But it's just gonna be breach.
so regional is not only mosque, because there is a business entity and it's very busy. I see a lot of young people come in and enjoying their coffee and having a good time, which is good for our city. We want that happens. So plus the cars come from other
It's a right-of-way traffic.
business entity, the plaza. I mean, people does not stop there. There's no sign there too, I think, or anything to people, just young kids that come quick, turn around. So that's kind of risky for this area, and many residents bring it to my attention. And I thank you that you went to look at the site and how this is look like and what can we do, but nothing has been come out. That was.
Councilman, it's not that we're not. I mean, Hennessy is getting us plans. We literally we're interfacing with them today.
But Hennessy doing the whole city. This could take another year.
Specifically Holbrook, in regards to the greenway, how it's gonna go through there, the actual parking through that area, it's globally the whole area right there. So, I mean, it's not just the crosswalk. We're trying to, get a plan together for everything there to bring it back to mayor and council for eventual approval. But my hope is that if the greenway goes through there, it narrows the actual street. If we change the parking to potentially angle instead of horizontal, it slows it down even more. And then maybe now it is safer to add a crosswalk in there with all those other variables in place. I just don't know that it's safe, in my experience, to just add that right now. But your suggestion has not been ignored. I mean, in fact, we're working on it 100%. We're just working on it a little bit bigger scale.
Mr. Chair, if I may add another thing, I did mention this before regarding the Conant and Belmont. Since the UCC mosque is open and the traffic coming from the Belmont to eastbound, and there is a huge blind spots. We had City of Hamtramck police car accident with the public car because of the blinds. And I have recommended, requested before there's something need to be a study there. And I have sent an email to the Wayne County Commissioner regarding that because we had multiple accidents. And that's because of the blinds. Maybe we can put a sign there, there's about, instead of 12 feet, we can have about 50 feet no parking. So
From
can,
the- from
to
the
isolate the
curb?
blinds from the stop sign. So that way we can have the, because there's so many cars during the school hours that come through, flying, excuse me, and it's clashing with each other, you know, having a
So this
crash.
one's even more
So it's-
difficult, Councilman, because we're at the mercy of the county on this one. Both Conant and Joseph Campo are county roads,
Mhm.
and, I mean, John can attest to this, we've been trying to get the county to respond to us for a month now. John, how many emails and calls have you sent into the county at this point?
A lot, not only that, with the crosswalks, we gotta remember too, it's not as easy as just going out and painting a crosswalk. You can't put them in the curbs, or you're in violation of ADA, you know, rules. So, and then going in, if you put an ADA ramp in, it could affect not just that one section of concrete, because you have to be within 2 to 7% slope. You could be taking out 20 feet in each direction, there's poles involved, so that's what we're experiencing everywhere. And our engineering firm, I even asked them, can we just go ahead and paint some crosswalks, like on that one by the school, we got a couple of requests? Absolutely not. Went out there, she said, absolutely no way.
We're running into the same
So
problem
that's
on
what we're having
Norwalk
trouble
right
with.
now, by the school as well. John's predecessor had indicated that we were in the process of doing that almost a year ago, and we are having problems right now because of the ramps for the ADA compliance with that. So we're not even sure how we're gonna do that one yet. So I mean, there's a lot more logistics involved. I mean, if we could literally just paint it, we'd be done. I mean, this wouldn't even be an issue. We'd have signs, we'd have paint, all of it would be done. But we're bound by county rules and ADA compliance and all and MDOT stuff for that matter, that we can't get around. But I mean, it's 100% on our radar. We're not ignoring it.
Yeah.
It's one of my daily emails to the counties.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening a lot. So like, if we are safety of our community residents and safety of our people, the accidents where causes the more, you know, accidents to the traffic, you know, from the traffic. It's highly recommend to reconsider and reevaluate this traffic.
Are we trying to
you know.
amend the resolution?
No.
No, just
We're discussing.
just future resolution.
All right, so we can.
There's 3 stop signs, right?
We can discuss this in the for future meetings and do some research and evaluation, and then come back with these
Other
topics
topics, yeah.
for
We
discussion.
just discussed it.
Yeah.
We got a chance to let it out. That's why we're putting it
Okay.
out there.
Yeah, thank
But
you.
thank
So-
you.
Mr. Chair,
Go.
just to ease his request, even though I mentioned it to you, it's, if we're able to paint yellow on those, like I did the St. Alba Mosque, me personally, I painted, where you paint just, instead of, I don't know, what's the rule?
12 feet.
12 feet from a crosswalk, where you're not allowed to park,
Stop sign. yeah.
7.
or a stop sign. So if we could extend it on Valmont and Conant,
We
where,
could kill the parking. I mean, that's an option. We can.
well, we don't wanna kill the whole thing, I'm just saying because people will actually park like near the curve of the
Literally.
crosswalk. So, and that's where people will, either they're gonna walk to cross to Conant, the other side, or drivers where they're not able to see the blank spot. So they have to get a little closer to the middle of the street for them to see oncoming traffic.
And
So
they shouldn't be parking there, so we need to paint those areas again.
it's already painted. I think if we can extend it a little bit more, that can at least leave maybe 2 space of vehicles free. So at least when someone wants to pull out, could see oncoming traffic. Because I drive there and it's hard when people park over there. You gotta like drive a little bit more in of on Conant for you to see if there's cars coming.
I mean, we can certainly do that. I predict we will have compliance issues right now, because there's so many people going in there at any given day that people kind of park poorly over there.
If you know, if things have to be forced, because you know the imam and the leaders over there are requesting that. They had, it's an issue in that section, so. So I know crosswalks, even though I requested for Chi Yemen Cafe, you know, cross, and then the Al Ghazali Mosque. But it's county's road that it will take a longer process.
We're
But-
additionally to the.
I know, I'm just saying, but this is an easy fix, where if you guys are able to pay that, that's it.
All right.
And then if it needs to be forced.
All right.
All right, let's vote.
Let's vote. All right.
Councilman Chaudhry,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood,
So we're voting on a stop sign, right?
you're voting on the 3 stop signs,
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Rafai.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 2023-137 approved.
Thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-138, authorizing to sell city properties by public silent auction.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I have Austin here from CED to discuss this. Pretty similar to last year. We changed it up a little bit. We learned some things from last year, but Austin can talk about it.
Good evening. During the July 11th City Council meeting, the council approved to acquire a number of properties that Wayne County had foreclosed on. Wayne County has a foreclosure process where they do offer it to the community to purchase back the property for the amount that the property was foreclosed on. Similar to last year, we saw that the most transparent and equitable method for selling the property was through a silent auction with sealed bids to the public. We proposed that silent auction be opened on September 15th, this coming Friday. Bids will be accepted until 10 a.m. on October 2nd. On October 2nd at 10 a.m., the bids will be opened here in City Council chambers. The highest bid would be the one to win the bid itself. The bidders are required to, within 2 years, bring the house into code, into a livable condition, and it also must be owner occupied itself. The process will require
I'm sorry, so you said owner has to occupy it on this property?
Yes, it'll be owner occupied. And the process would be closed bid, so a bid application will be offered, it'll be online, it'll also be published in local newspapers. We're looking to also publish it in multiple languages and newspapers that are run here, locally in Hamtramck and Southeast Michigan. Bidders will be required to provide a complete application, a bid form, a minimum price that, a bid price at or above the minimum price identified on the table provided with them, a copy of their driver's license, a $50 fee for the application, and then, like I said, the bids will be closed and will be opened on October 2nd at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, no more discussion?
Yes, vote. Or you gonna vote no discussion?
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Rafai,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Chaudhry,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 2023-138 approved.
Thank you. Next one is the added resolution 2023-139, resolution to remove Karen Majewski from the Downtown Development Authority.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
No, sir.
Said yes, vote.
All right. I mean, some people were concerned about the reason. There's too many reasons, not just one reason. So I would just suggest that you go to Charter Section 5-1 to read about the power of the mayor and city council when they need to remove a member of any commission, and compare it to the previous administration where there had no person in any of the boards and commissions who was working against her. She removed everybody who was not working along with her agenda. So she is being a divisive member of the community since I put her on the board of the DDA. And that was my intention, to bring the community together. I kept everybody in place in all the boards and commissions, did not fire anybody. I thought we can work together to unite the community, but some people took advantage of being in one of those boards as a member to just work against the mayor. That doesn't make no sense. Everybody thought that I was, I don't want to say the word that I didn't know what I was doing, but no, I intentionally kept everybody in place so we can work together and unite the community, but it didn't work out. And after a year and a half, some members of the boards and commission that I kept working to divide the community and working against the mayor and council, which doesn't make no sense. We have people who were in defiance of some of the resolutions of the city, including her. I can't count how many reasons and causes are there to remove her from the board and from the DDA. So I think if anybody's interested, we can discuss it further, and I can count the reasons, including using social media to divide the community. Not only that, also, requesting the state to stop funds to Hamtramck. That's crazy. Someone who works for the city requesting the state to stop sending funds for the city so we can go bankrupt and so we can fail. That doesn't make no sense. Like I said, doing things in defiance of one of the city resolutions, along with other members that were fired previously, sharing posts that call the mayor terrorist. That's another thing disrespectful to the mayor who appointed you in this commission. Doesn't make no sense. How can I work and get along with people that I appoint and they work against me? Well, the charter gives us the power to remove them if we have to. And sometimes we can dissolve the whole commission and board if it doesn't work along with the mayor and council. And like I said, my good intention in the beginning was to work with everyone to unite the community. Now some people were opportunists, and they took advantage of that appointment to work against the mayor and to divide the community. That doesn't make no sense. And I think we have good, valid reasons and causes, even though we didn't need that to remove someone from the any board or commission. So if anybody wants to discuss that further, you can go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I was surprised that is getting lobby against the community. Like when you're asking to not sending fund or not granting fund for the community, is whole community getting affected by his personal issues. So I mean, this is very embarrassing and shameful for a person who was a public servant for many, many years for the city.
Exactly, and something that was unexpected by her and some other people, that the success that happened over the past year in balancing the budget, doing a lot of fixation to the infrastructure. I mean, we are financially good until 2028. We've never been like that in the past. So that was a surprise to someone who was in power for 16 years and didn't happen during her time. Therefore, the alternative is just to work in a different way to just divide the community and spread hate and, in the community. So that's unacceptable, and we're just gonna give her more flexibility to work against the city, but from outside of the city, not from within. So I waited a year and a half. Perhaps behavior can be changed, but it didn't. So I would ask you to support me today, if possible.
Mr. Chair, so as an elected official, what we're doing, we're not naming somebody, we're removing. We just try to make the DDA organization a strong, undivided, profitable, and united. So the person who making, any person, the organization divided, making problem, and the decision not making like a profitable best interest of the DDA, Due to that, we are removing, make a DDA more strong, more diverse, and more active. That's all my statement.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilman Chaudhry.
I just have a quick question. So if we do pass this resolution and remove this person, do we have another one in mind who's gonna
Yeah,
be
yes,
replacing?
we actually have about 3 people interested in the DDA, and we have about 3 spots now. So I'm planning to put some people who are business owners on Joseph Campo or nearby, and they will be appointed soon.
So, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you have appointed an experienced mayor who's been a mayor for the city 16 years, that you give it a benefit of doubt to that person will lead better men of the community, you know. And I appreciate it at the time you appointed Madam Karen Mayeski, but all these things that I'm hearing and divisive and divided the community, it's hurting the community. It's not acceptable, you know, when as someone who was elected official and served the community and experience, if you desire, if you wish to have a better community, you will support for the community. You would do things better for the whole community. I like your, you know, but at the end of the day, what's best for the best majority, it's important. That's what I always go for. It doesn't matter what you look like, what your race, what your ethnicity. It's what community needs. Will help the community to live better. You know.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilman Abu Musa, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, you bring the resolution to remove former mayor from the DDA. I have a really good experience with working with her the last almost 10 years. But whatever I learned, listen from you, she worked before when I was there. Councilman and Mayor Protem was there also. We had a good experience with her. But I don't know how she really changed. And whatever I heard from you, I want to believe these things also. And if somebody stopped the fund from state or federal government to come to the state, come to the city of Hamtramck, I can't tolerate those things. For those kind of issue, even I have a very good relationship with her, but best of the majority, interest the majority people of the city of Hamtramck and residents of Hamtramck, I would agree with you.
Thank you. And like I said, I actually, my advisors in the beginning recommended that I change all the boards and commission, and I went against their opinion. I said, no, I can work with those people. We can build bridges. We can unite the community. And I kept, most of the boards and commissions are still from the previously appointed by her. I have no problem with most of them. We get along. But when you clearly work against me and against the interests of the city and wish that the city fails, that we cannot tolerate that. So she can have more flexibility doing that without being city staff. And we thank her for her service for the city. And we wish her the best on future endeavors.
No.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman Fai.
You know, all of you guys have said so much. Just one thing that we're sending a message to everybody that's are part of these committees, that do not work against the city of Hamtramck. If you plan to divide the city, we will have a resolution to take you down. You were appointed to work with the city, with the mayor, with the city council for the best of the city. And if you're gonna work and try to divide the city and cause issues, what's the purpose of you being in that committee? So hopefully it's a lesson for everybody on all the committees that we have in the city. Let's work as a unity to make a better Hamtramck.
Thank you. We can go ahead and vote.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Al-Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Wood,
Yes.
Councilman Chaudhry,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Rafai?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 2023-39 approved.
Thank you. Next one, and the last one, is resolution 2023-140, to discuss stop or pausing hiring new staff to the city departments, and it's for discussion. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Are we just discussing
Second,
or is
discuss.
it a resolution?
As a
The
resolution. Resolution.
It's a resolution, okay.
To open.
Are we, I heard him saying for just discussion in the beginning.
I say discussion and we can, I say the
Resolution
resolution.
and discuss-
Yeah.
discuss.
So you
So the
wanna vote?
resolution is to pause hiring until the budget is discussed.
Yes.
Okay, let's.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, let's discuss that.
So, Mr. Mayor, this is temporary base. The reason that I asked for it, many people that have visited our city of Hamtramck, our residents, they're saying that many department had more people than, the work that they have to do. I mean, the staffing level is higher than workload that we have. So, my reason is to ask you, maybe we can make a subcommittee and reevaluate every department, how many staffing we have and what we need, and work with the city manager, and maybe get into the appropriate staffing that we need it to be. Also, like recently, there a position that I see in administrative generalist, right? This is called. So there's a position created. I have no idea, but I understand this is the administrative position. We don't need council opinion, but I wish we could be discussed because we still have to allocate the budget for this position.
Budget impact.
It's going to impact our future budget. And then which route are we going to? Previously, we hired a assistant city manager, did not go very well. Just end up with, paying money for that person and our compensation and everything. And are we hiring that person? Top of it, are you still thinking about hiring another assistant city manager, or what's the plan? So
we had previously, before the assistant city manager, we had a secretary staff in the third floor that was helping Kathy.
Yes.
And this one is similar to that position, with someone who is, I see, highly qualified and very talented. He will help the city manager and the city with many things. He works in the media, he's a journalist, he has his own podcast, and he has good relationship with the community. Per the charter, we have nothing to do with those kinds of hires. It's the city manager's call. We only get involved when we hire a department head. So it was the request of the city manager for this position to assist him because he was working alone. And if you look at it from the budget wise, we had assistant city manager who was receiving 85,000. That position is gone. Now we have position for, I think, 60 something. So we are basically, we'll probably be doing the same thing with less money. I think it was a good decision taken by the city manager. We didn't have to know about it. We didn't have to discuss among each other because we only get involved with department heads hires, not staff. So I think it wasn't a big problem for the city, this position. I don't know about the other departments that you mentioned, but I think we will benefit a lot from hiring this person. I know he's multi-talented person.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
I think Mayor Pro Tem asked first, so
Sure.
let's hear from him.
So here is the one, the resolution today came, stop hiring until budget discussion. Question to the city manager, administrative assistant Ashley was there before. So there is the opening is still there, administrative assistant. Did you hire the administrative assistant recently or not?
just recently, we just did.
Okay, so here is the direct question and answer. So you did the hiring, done?
Correct.
Okay, so I think my colleague, a little bit upset or not being knowing that, but the other hand, Sutter gave you permission to do it. But previous practice, all the manager always speak up. Even though when Kathy Younger was hiring Ashley, we even don't know. It's okay, no problem, because we have to worry about the department head and the assistant manager. And today, I want to make sure and clear things to my colleague and residents. It is not the assistant manager position. Assistant manager position hiring will remain as the same protocol, same practice like a city manager, because in case city manager resign or terminate, assistant city manager has to take over. That's why this protocol and process will be same as city manager. So this is the clarification, administrative assistant, and every organization have it. And after that, from today, stop frozen hiring. It was, we did long time ago when I was councilman. We stopped hiring, then frozen the hiring. And also previous practice I have done with the other smart council members, even though over $10,000 limit check, anything cannot manager approve, has to come to the council, then got approval. So a lot of things in the time basis we can do it. So this resolution is saying, as of if it get passed today, from today, you not get any authority to hire anybody, frozen until further approval. So that is the, I'm clear with that, I feel. So your administrative or clerk office, you have somebody done, and I'm okay with that, you already have done.
Yes.
And the other thing, I agree with the Mohit Mahmood, it was my original fight from the 12 years, eliminating the staff from third floor. Okay? Michigan State came with us, we called them, me and Mr. Jolak. They came, we did the review whole stopping, and the plan 1, plan A, plan B, plan C. And there was the proposal, was couple of times came, the department had combined. Okay, I understand, like a lot of expense, like Mr. Sumari said, let's say we don't have the money to expand, we can survive with this window 1 more years. That's what his philosophy example was doing. We do have some money, and we don't want to expend all the money. Why? Again, if the jail moved from here, 1.5 million is gone. When I first came here 2009, when I speak, next year budget shortfall will be 3 million, everybody was, like I said, and exactly was 3 million shortfall, because they never thought rainy day fund, they never thought American Excel will go away, 3 million gone. So those kinds of rainy day fund, we have to speak from like a savings cost here, savings from employee, like those kinds of things, my colleague try to do that. So as of today, as after this resolution, it's gonna be frozen, I will support it, but there is the administrative assistant, it's already been hired, so I'm okay with that. A clerk office also has 1 employee added, and I was expecting to eliminate the 1 employee from there too. So that is my opinion.
All right, Councilman Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Here's the thing, folks. There was no due diligence done. In other words, the transparency was not done. We received an email on Friday, late evening, from the city manager that we are hiring an administrative general clerk. And a whole week or 2 weeks passed, we did not have a discussion, which is fine, but by having a conversation with the CM, we found out that other council members, including mayor, were informed this processing was going on. That is the issue. If you're going to be working, we need to work together and be transparent and have a integrity to the all elected official. We are okay if you have a qualified candidate. I'm okay with that if someone's going to assist our city manager. It's overwhelming. I see that day-to-day operation is too much going on. But if you were informed, we would appreciate it. That would have gave a little bit of opportunities, that we are working together. But another coin, and on the other side of the coin, the budget. We don't want to just keep on hiring and then have someone not getting along and the person goes into discriminations thing and then he started or she started swinging and then we got to pay lump sum to settle this. That's impacting our taxpayer money. We need to keep that in mind. We're not just, one to another, hire and fire. Somewhere we need to make a constructive decisions for the community, for the city. That's why we try to have this freezing so we can evaluate our budget, our entire staffing in City Hall, because we are spending so much money. We're doing so many things here, there. We want to improve the City Hall. We want to improve our infrastructure, but we don't do the budget session. We don't do the discussion of our revenue, our budget. So therefore, this is important that we do freezing, and with a further discussion or further meetings or subcommittee, we would have a better understanding. That's my intention. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I just want to quickly clarify. I don't have any personal issue about the person who getting hired. And I know he's a great person and he's a Hamtramck resident. This is that should be a priority always for us to hire someone from Hamtramck rather than outside. That was about creating the position, even though the position was empty since last few years, even though we have assistant city manager, didn't work out. I don't have problem for that. I mean, I was saying that overall, that it's not only this department. I see that other department could be hire more people, and residents watch everything, they see everything, and they came up to me many times, and I was not taking to the consideration. Now I feel like we should have if we need people, definitely we need people there, for our service, for our community service. But a community feel like they don't need that many people, then we should. We just can listen to them. We have to review too. We have to watch and see, and you can create a group who can look through every department what it needed. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem kind of clear things up very neatly. So from his previous experience. So I mean, this was my views, nothing else.
All right, thank you. Councilman Abu Musa, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mahmood, to bring these things and we can discuss those things. I thought we were united. Former our councilman Naim Chaudhary said, Mayor knows, some other councilman knows. Why I'm stay behind? Why I don't know? I have a question to you, council and city manager.
The reason is,
let me finish with
okay, let's not finish.
Chair, it is an administrative position. Sometimes we don't need to know. We don't need to know. If this person come in and he sue against, again, like Mrs. Mali, so who's going to pay this lump sum? Taxpayer of Hamtramck. The people who elected me to this body, I need to protect them too. If all we make no's and if we always make the wrong decision, still we can live with this. And one person make the decision and if it goes fall down, we cannot tolerate those things. In future, 2 years later, this person, I hope it not happen, sue again like Molly. So Mr. City Manager doesn't pay from his pocket, taxpayer pay for those funds. And my argument to you and my request to you guys in future or anything else, why we can discuss. I talk most of the time with you, Mayor Pro Tem and all of the council. This is the first time I heard from you guys. I feel really.
No, I will clarify. So first, the position was posted online for a few weeks. So that's one thing. It wasn't a secret. It was online. Second, we knew because we referred some people to apply for this position, including the person who was interviewed and got hired because he was highly qualified for the position. Third, the charter doesn't give you the right to control the city manager's hiring for staff. You only control the department heads, you and I and everybody else. So we have no right to, we're trying now to restrict the power of the city manager not to hire any staff, which may sound crazy. But hiring staff that's not department heads, we have nothing to do with it. We have no right to know about it either. So I'm just saying, it wasn't
Mr.
a
Chair,
secret.
I'm 100% agree with you, but we had a very bad experience last 2 months ago.
Mr. Mayor, may I comment on this?
Go ahead.
So I was trying to listen to everybody's comments on this before I spoke. I've heard some mixed things. One of them was that, yes, the hiring and firing is vested within the city manager's position, which is 100% correct. Yes, Councilman Hassan is correct that councils in the past have restricted and froze hiring and done other things, generally because we were in a budget deficit of millions of dollars. And frankly, at that point, that was the thing to do. But I will point out that this council and mayor recently just blessed and approved a budget. And we're working within those parameters of those budgets. Every month, multiple times a year, we turn over staff here. I mean, we're always hiring and firing, or people are coming and going. Code enforcement alone is a excellent example of that. I mean, people are coming and going constantly. Police officers are coming and going constantly. Firemen are coming and going constantly. I mean, to put a freeze is just essentially crippling City Hall. What are we supposed to do every time we want to hire a part-time position, come to council and have a resolution? I mean, why would we do that? You've blessed and approved a budget that we're working within. We're not doing anything crazy here. We hired essentially a secretary is what we did. Now, yes, as a courtesy, my predecessor did, and I also try to keep council very informed of this. This last one was a communication error, 100%. My belief was that everybody up here knew about this. I thought that. Shame on me, I didn't realize that, I'm sorry. I know at least most of the council did know, 100%. I know that as a fact that they did know. A few of them did not, and I'm sorry for that. I should have probably reached out to them and said, hey, just so you know this is happening, and someone got through the cracks. But, I mean, to restrict, the powers of the city manager to hire and fire and whatnot, and just generally across the board, why are we doing that? We have budget amendments every quarter where we bring the budget to you, where the council has an opportunity to look at every budget item, everything on there, all the amendments we propose, why we propose that, make suggestions to change things, and if we want to do something with staffing, then that's when we do it. We're turning people over here. So I don't see the point of this, I'm sorry.
And the other thing is, I think we talked about this multiple times, that we work together as a team. We put some efforts to diversify the city hall, and that was part of this. We spoke about this, and we talked about, okay, there is no Bengalis. We need to find somebody who speaks Bengali and come here. There is no Yemenis, no single Yemeni in the city hall. We need somebody who is Yemeni, speak Arabic, improve the communication with the community. So that was part of the plan, the strategy that we had, that we talked about it. It's not like we didn't talk about it in the past. So I was informed by the city manager, and I thought everybody else is informed. I didn't reach out to anybody else. And I didn't think that it was necessary for me to talk to everybody. I thought that everybody knew, especially that it was posted online. And I don't think it's a big problem, because it's not a violation of the rules, because it's not a department head that we hired without getting the city council involved. It was just regular staff like the previous one. So I don't think it should be a problem, and I think we can discuss with the city manager that we should be informed in the future about any plans, so we can just give our input in there. But I don't think restricting his power to hire and fire is something constitutional. I don't know if that's possible.
Mr. Chair, if administrative position, he can, he's a practice, he can do so, he's chartered allowed him.
Right, yeah. If it's a department head, then we got involved, we have to get
But
involved.
all those things do not need to be discussed today,
Right.
if we know before a little bit.
Yeah, true.
Unfortunately, and it is his mistake too. Yeah. He said, I do not share, I thought you guys know. So we admit everything.
Yeah,
We
I
learn
think
from
some knew, but we didn't, maybe miscommunication like the city manager
Yes.
said. In the past, there were some people who were hired without my knowledge. I did not condemn that. I mean, some people were hired and fired without me getting involved. An example is the Bengali girl who was in the accountant. I didn't know that she was hired and I didn't know that she was fired, except when she sent me an email complaining. I mean, I didn't make it a big deal. I think it was, I don't know if it was recommended by one of our city
No.
council, no? It wasn't? Okay.
It was the manager tried to help the
Okay.
community.
I mean, we're begging for qualified candidates.
So here is the one, Mr. Chair, can I speak little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Manager, there is nothing personal, okay? There is the, like, we have a pressure from the community, okay? It's nothing to the override your power, no. It just came here as a discussion, now discussion to the resolution. And because of course, when people walk around, see the couple of extra employee in the department, and the concern about the residents, they always call, okay? My day off, you see me every time I come, knock your door, because of this ticket, that ticket, people always call us. Why my house go up, price go up? This auction, I just did the Facebook like around after 7 o'clock. There is a lots of comment came, oh, don't buy the house, sometime it's going up with the price, don't buy anymore. So there is a lot of criticism and lot of things we have to take it. And again, constitutional right, up to, like employee, no issue with us.
Yeah.
Even-
Councilman, we make, I make hiring
I
and
wanna,
firing decisions.
I wanna just make it cool and clear, those things.
Well, but I'm doing this based upon actual needs, not public perception.
Okay.
I mean, people come in from the outside and see things, but, I mean, what do you actually see?
No.
I hear this all
So,
the
Mr.
time,
Chair,
you know.
I know you're gonna speak probably. Can I just quick interrupt? I mean, just related to Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Is that okay, Mr. Khalid? So, as I say, this is not personal things, but secondly, my belief is always, most experienced people, regardless it is Yemeni or Bengali or any, I have no perception about the ethnicity. If you have to, you'll hire the interpreter for a city. If you have to, if it's necessary. So I don't want to get this wrong because we don't want to hear another complaint next week. Then may announce that hire only Bengali and
No.
Yemeni. How this is going to come back to us. So what I was going to say, this frozen is not for forever things. That I'm saying we can evaluate. Mr. Mayor can build a committee which can overview every department and then maybe finalize, is it something people complain is true or it just does the nonsense
The
complaint.
accountability.
Yeah, so that's something my opinion was. That's where I was coming from. It's not that permanently block
Just
your
wanna-
power or anything. That's
I mean,
not
if you want to form a subcommittee to go over our staffing needs for the city, that's excellent. We're more than happy to do that, but just to blanket, freeze firing, I mean, we're constantly changing staff out here.
Mr. Chair.
Rifai, sorry.
With due respect to my colleagues, I don't know, are we talking about a resolution that we're gonna stop hiring and firing, or are we just sending a message to him that?
Not firing, just a freeze in hiring.
Let me finish, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Or are we sending a message to him, hey, next time, if you're hiring somebody, just let us know? So I wanna know, what are we discussing now? Are we discussing that, hey, resolution, stop hiring, stop firing, it's not, don't do that no more, let us know before. Don't do your what the charter is saying, or are we just stating, hey, listen, city manager, he has said, I apologize, I have not mentioned it to a lot of council members. From now on, let us know who you're gonna hire, maybe it's someone from the community or someone from the outside. So I just wanna know, what are we doing? Is it a resolution, stop him doing his job? Or is it a message to him, hey, listen, next time, let us know, and not skip one person and not the other?
Mr.
I
Chair.
just want to understand, why are we?
Okay.
If I have, may I have a 1 minute? I'm gonna request to my colleague, maybe if we don't go this one as a resolution, if we go as a discussion, and Mr. Khalil, whatever you said, then the message gone to the manager, and also mayor gonna format the subcommittee, and manager and subcommittee willingly work together to find out the way which department need, how many what. In that case, Mr. Mohit Mahmood, I'm requesting to leave it as a discussion, not the resolution, and it is my request. Amend the things and then format the subcommittee. That is my request.
Is it a motion
You
or?
can motion.
No, while I'm requesting, try to convince my,
Well.
well, I can make a motion on
You can
that.
motion, and if he wants a second, he's.
Yeah, that's.
I like to make the motion as I described.
We have more discussion, they gonna add from now to in the
go ahead.
morning.
So you're motioning to just make.
As a discussion, not the resolution.
Changing from resolution to discussion, I'm okay
I'm
with it.
second.
And I agree with you to have a subcommittee. I think a subcommittee will be good
I open
to actually know who's being hired.
Somebody getting more angry
To me,
now.
just,
Just
I'm not understanding if
somebody
we
go
get,
ahead.
let him stop what he's doing.
He expends
or-
7 window.
And I'm with you 100%. If
I
somebody
don't like,
does not know.
see, I like
That's-
this
that's
people,
100%.
they live
Okay,
in the city.
Councilman
Mr. Chair,
Sawyer,
if
please.
on that note,
I don't like
to you.
Other people, they don't live in the city.
Okay.
Go ahead.
On that note to my colleague, Councilman Rafai, look, if we started having budget issues, we started going deficit, we would come up with this freezing. We would really gonna say, hey, stop hiring, we have a budget issue. This kind of similar to this, we are concerned about the budget, how much we are spending, how much we're spending on the hiring. There's so much going on. Now, we do respect that city manager has the full authority of hiring and firing. We're not interfering in that. We just want to temporarily freeze hiring, so that way we can evaluate our budget, or we can have a committee to discuss. Nothing personally attacking the city manager recent hire. It's just that we wanted to be more transparent and informative to our official.
Mayor,
That's all.
Go ahead.
the Mayor County just one question. If you do respect the city manager, why we hire the city manager?
I'd like to suspend the law to vote for the.
Mr. Chair.
I don't know what he's
So
asking.
do we want to form a subcommittee to
I think that's
discuss
the
these
best-
If you
concerns with the
respect this
city
person,
manager?
why
Thank
we
you. I
hire?
agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, discuss these concerns and let's see, I mean, if
Yeah.
they're, okay.
Okay, vote on the
Not
discussion.
yet.
That's why I'm saying, somebody have to
Yeah,
vote
so I
for
think
it.
Councilman Hassan, suspend the rules to vote on it, so.
Yeah,
you
please,
gotta vote on it.
suspend the law is you have to vote.
Okay.
You have to
Please.
vote how we gonna
Councilman
vote.
Hassan.
So
Wait.
discussion,
Thank you.
yes.
So we're changing the resolution to discussion.
Okay,
Councilman Hassan, yes. Councilman Al Samiri.
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud.
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury.
Yes.
Councilman Musa.
Yes.
Councilman Rafai.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 140 is now.
As a discussion.
No longer a resolution.
Mr. Chair.
okay.
Now I'm.
We're gonna discuss.
Just to recap to what you're saying, we have balance of budget. There's already a budget. There was a previous job over
Open
there.
2 in the morning.
So it's not, it's something that
Gonna make
we're adding to our
more
budget.
discussion.
It's already a budget there that has been for this position. So it's not something that is gonna affect our budget. We have approved a budget for the city to run. So this position is not something new. Just
Sure.
let you know.
Okay. Khalid, yes, there was another assistant administrative clerk there to assist the city manager. But that position was eliminated. All this month, we have not had these positions filled in. Now, all of a sudden, you wanted to bring in somebody that you know that qualified. Well, we had a city assistant manager who was more qualified and working with every department, as far as I know, from that time. Suddenly, she has started having issues, and then I don't want to discuss so much, but you know what the story is.
But was
Now
there a budget?
we're trying to bring
No,
in.
but was there a budget for that?
Mr.
Sure.
Chair,
Was there a budget?
But the thing is, right now, we're trying to
Was there a solid
make
budget
sure
for
that we have a transparency.
And
Look
that's
at the
my
word
question.
I'm saying,
Very
is
much.
there was
Mr.
no
Chair,
communication.
Mr. Mayor,
So,
can we
we
be
can,
careful on
not the
Yeah,
whole
I'm
thing
going-
about personal attack.
Mr. Chair, may I, so we have enough discussion, I think, I like to close the discussion if you guys don't have any problem, because there is some personal things we're gonna go discuss, and we should not.
No, there's nothing should be
So-
personal, I'm not
so-
talking personal.
So please,
Personnel.
It moved into personnel.
yeah, so please, like to close the discussion, and subcommittee, you wanna format today here, or you wanna format later on, I don't have no issue.
Who would like to do this one? I mean,
Okay, so go ahead, Mr. Mohit Mahmood, you one of them, please, I'm requesting.
No, let's have somebody else. I already in other subcommittees that, you know.
Mr.
Okay.
Chaudhry.
would you like to be in the subcommittee?
Sure.
Okay. Khalid?
I'm in enough committees. so.
Yeah, I think this shouldn't take more than one meeting
No.
to discuss.
Get an organized org chart together and we'll
Yeah,
show
yeah.
where everyone's at.
Yes, Mr.
So if nobody have a problem, I can be there.
I will be there.
Okay.
Okay, so Abu Musa is there,
Khalid,
and
Chaudhry.
and put the Sumari on
No.
it.
Sumeri is not.
Okay, so put my name on it,
Who the
if nobody want it.
It's
Yes.
three,
Okay.
so three, we already have three. I mean,
So who is it? I have Chowdhury, Musa,
And Hassan.
and Hassan.
Why you don't like me, you don't wanna write my name on it?
No, people that like you.
She want to confirm it.
I think it
I
should
heard a
be
no from you, that's
diverse.
why.
Always, I say yes, here,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
He's gonna
Because
cover the
now
job
we
anytime.
have three people of the same view. We need someone from the opposite view.
Yes, that's why I'm
Now,
requesting.
you all agree on one, you know,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
one side,
yeah,
we
yeah,
need
yeah.
someone from the other side. I think.
Mr.
Councilman
Khalil
Khan-
supposed to be there.
I'm too, I already have two subcommittees, I'm not,
So Mr.
I got too
Sumari.
much work.
Look, many times I expect the whole community.
Okay,
Some
Mr.
people we
Sumari.
don't expect, how we gonna expect the other people? If they gonna see tomorrow 10 o'clock, nobody show up. I have to expect the other people. Because me and you, we're gonna go.
Okay,
Other
Mr.
people we can expect.
Mr. Chair, make a decision and then close it,
Yes.
say we're just having enough.
All right, I think,
Have it
Or
confirmed
Mr.
that they
Chair,
don't
you
know.
can be
I
the,
can be in there.
yes, so I'm off, Mr. Mayor will be there.
So no,
I'm no.
you sure?
Yep.
That's fine, I'll be with,
Yep.
Councilman Abu Musa, Councilman Chaudhry, and me, we can discuss
Yes, make it perfect.
this. All right. Okay, so now we don't have to vote on this, right?
No.
No.
It's just discussion.
Reports.
All right, so we're done.
That's the Ross
Go to the
resolution.
next.
Yep.
All right, next, now we move to the reports and start with the mayor report. Don't have anything to say, actually. I would like to thank everyone who showed up today to this meeting. And I wanna emphasize that we don't ignore you. In fact, like I said, I support unlimited time of public comments. Some people don't believe me, but I mean, if there's a vote, you will see, and you will find my stance in that. And I think the council listened to you today and rejected the cameras and a lot of stuff, so that was a good meeting, which showed that sometimes they listen to you, and we appreciate that you come to the meeting. We can always, come together, discuss things. We should, I think communication is very important to resolve some issues. And some people criticize us for having a meeting last week with some people who reach out to us and asked to start communicating with us. And we got those people some of them to apologize about some statements they said about Islam in the past, which was, I think, a productive meeting. If communication can help us resolve some issues and change the views of some people, I think we can build bridges that way. And I am open for any kind of meeting that the community would like to have. We can discuss issues nicely, away from threats and yelling and all these kinds of things. So that's all I have to say, I think, about today. And I think we should have also better communication. I agree with you guys within the city council. Things that are within our power. And that's it. I thank everyone who came today, and thank all the city council members for being here. And we move to the report of the mayor pro tem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to thank everyone today came out and give the opinion and with respect. I think it's a good meeting today. We had to discuss a lot of things. And thanks again. It's not we are limiting the times. Sometimes we all have the family, we all have to go to work. We just try to be reasonable time and reasonable discussion. That's all we try to do. Nothing blocking, nothing doing wrong. Thank you.
All right, next one is the city council report. Anyone would like to say something? Yes, Councilman
I want to
Rafai.
thank everybody for coming out here tonight. At least we agreed on one thing. You guys stated that don't want those cameras, license, float, whatever you call them. We actually voted for that. I was against it from the beginning. I didn't think that there's no need for that. I love seeing council members, chamber be filled like this and have a lot of public comments. It's good to have residents coming here, every council meeting. It's a good thing that we kind of, talk to each other and address issues. I wish everybody a good night. Please stay safe.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I?
Yes.
As everyone thanking our audience, as I have the same approach, thanking audience for coming out and express your opinion. Opinions matter, it's today or tomorrow, we'll come to a conclusion. I mean, I understand we have a very unhealthy relationship going on in the community that anybody can walk to the street and you can realize, because since the resolution passed, many times I say hello to many people, my white folks in this community, they don't talk to me. They don't say hello back to me. And I'm a friendly person. I try to get involved with as much as I can and be friendly with people. I mean, we come here for a reason. I try my best. And many things that I say, yes, because I want to see the improvement. The reason I say yes to the camera because our police chief always coming in and say we are short on police officers. We're not able to perform our job because we have short-handed. So that was my reason of it's not disrespecting your opinions or anything. That was my point of view to saying yes. But dialogue is the main way to minimize this issue they're having in the community. We all should live together. This is one community, one city, and we all paying the same tax, same amount of tax. And I hope we can come up with some sort of forum that we all can get together and live together and make it a better city for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I'll go,
Councilman
I
Chowdhury.
think.
Go ahead.
First of all, folks, good evening and assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. First and foremost, I would like to commemorate our 9/11, just passed yesterday, that those one, pardon me? Yes, that's I was going to. And I would like to call upon a moment of silence for 9/11. Thank you. Thank you. Another thing I'd like to, my prayer goes out to the Morocco. The recent earthquake, that devastating, it's heartbreaking. That magnitude of earthquake took place. I want to thank the international countries that is supporting and helping to find out the survivors. It's it could happen anywhere around the world, and this happened to be one of those countries. It does not have everything, so my prayer goes out to them. I also want to thank our leader, our Imam for Islam is here today. He's a very busy man. He's maintaining school, Islamic school and other things. He's always influencing the community to flourish the city, flourish everything. And I want to thank him for being here, and also our state representative Abram Ayash and Senator Chang, being a role model to this community, bringing the financial strength to the city. We need it, as you know, 2.2 square mile city is not that much of revenue coming in, and we need a state helps, federal helps. So I really appreciated those working for the city of Hamtramck. With this being said, thank you so much for being here tonight. Have a good night. God bless you. We all are in this together. Thank you.
Thank you, and since you mentioned Morocco, there is also a natural disaster in Libya next door, and tens of thousands of people lost their life.
Yes.
Tornado or hurricane.
Yes, thank you.
So, our condolences to, the families of the lost ones. We have some residents from Morocco here in our city.
Yes.
And I spoke to them personally about that. So thanks for mentioning that. And Councilman Abu Musa?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to thank the people who come in and join with us this evening. I'd like to support your constitutional right, First Amendment, freedom of speech. And you will see on the discussion of the council chamber, we are not agree always. We are yes and no divided too. It doesn't mean we don't like each other, we hate each other. You are our citizen, you live in the city. We elected by you people. We do not here for only one person or one group of people. We are serving whole community as a whole. So we like to discuss with you. We like to get a conclusion with you guys. And politics always compromise. If you want to get something else, we like to solve this issue, the burning issue. Please, Mayor always say we need to discuss, we need to be dialogue and find the solution there. And second things, I'm here in Michigan. It is my 12 years. I lived in New York and New Jersey a long time. I remember this Twin Tower. My cousin was there. My couple uncles were there. 23 Bangladeshi people lived their life there, lost their life there. And this building is my memories. If you go to the upstairs, windows on the wall, you have to pay almost $30 ticket. So we bypass those things. My uncle's working windows on the wall. So we always go the key, sorry to have that, we need to pass the key, we go there. So this building is in my memories. And when this building collapsed, I was watching front of those buildings. God bless them who lost their lives and their families. I have nothing else. I'm really speechless. And all those condolences go to the people who lost their lives in Morocco, Libya, and disaster in Hawaii and other places. Thanks, God bless them, whoever lives there, and I have nothing else to say. Thank you very much to listen us and give me the opportunity to talk to.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more reports? Yes, Councilman Sumeri.
Thank you for everyone. I am happy to see all the residents in Hamtramck to come to make the discussion for whatever you want. I am happy to see all of them. And thank you for Fakhr al-Islam and they show up. And thank you for Stephanie Chang and Ibrahim Ayash, they're working for Hamtramck. I love the people working for Hamtramck to make Hamtramck is better. And I expect the people to live in Hamtramck and he care in Hamtramck. Thank you.
Thank you. The dinner is on you tonight, right? All right. With that, we have to move to the city manager report. Do you have any?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do have a very brief closed session after this, but I just want to give a quick closing thought. So I touched on it earlier, potentially more money coming into the city. It's not a done deal yet, but by the diligent work of John and Hennessy, they put a proposal to Eagle some time ago, and we're on the verge of getting another $15 million towards our drinking water. It's not a done deal, but say a prayer, hopefully we get it, and I think it's going to happen. So I just wanted to point out that John's not all about spending money, he likes getting money too for us.
That's good. Makes somebody's life easy too.
I have one quick question that I hope we get the money, and I hope we reduce the residents' water bill somewhere. This bill is so high.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, it may not see an immediate relief, but the bill's high because our infrastructure's failing. So the more money that comes in from the state, to strengthen and repair that, the less our residents have to.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All
I
right,
mean,
thank you. And now we move back to the public comment.
Lynn Blasi, 2 minutes, please.
Hello again, Mayor and Council. I just have a few things. I would like to note, I think starting off, that in the council rules, it says that elected officials have up to 5 minutes per agenda item. I think that it's only fair if you're restricting public comment that you adhere to your own rules. The last agenda item took quite a bit of time, and that is not compatible with restricting public comment, for the same reasons, respecting time and those things. I would also like to address the risk of irreversible damage to IT equipment if it overheats. This proposal has come before council a couple times, and I'm not sure why you keep voting down an AC unit to protect the IT equipment, but if that fails, the whole city is gonna not be able to function.
thank you.
And that's got some really bad consequences. And then to echo some things that Councilman Naeem said, working together, transparency, wanting to be informed and appreciate being informed in advance of council meetings. The last 2 council meetings, agenda items have been added at the last minute. And those same feelings are shared by the public when we don't have the opportunity to know what's going to be discussed, prepared to engage in the conversation, to share our feedback and opinions. So I want you to reflect on that, and as often as possible have the agenda items available to the public ahead of time. And then lastly, with a concern about budget within City Hall, pay raises for council are on the agenda or on the ballot coming up. So that's something also to consider when you're concerned about budget and hiring.
Thank you, Lynn.
How'd she do that? She knew the 10 seconds without even seeing you. You ended like.
Exactly.
That's pretty good.
She's here every meeting.
I watched your eyes. You
Great
didn't see the 10 seconds, but you ended right on there.
She's practicing.
Yeah,
Not bad.
it's a good practice, the timing. Yeah,
How's it going, guys?
eliminating.
I know you guys are probably tired of hearing from me. I did listen to you guys, but before I say my little bit, I do want to thank you for listening to us on these cameras and taking care of your community. That was actually really good of you. As a veteran, it is my responsibility to protest you though. So, I listened to what you guys said about how impolite I was, and I hope you find this call more polite. I am rising once again to call for civil disobedience from my community in response to your actions. I look forward to the art and joy that my community will create and hope you are as well.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Limited time
Is
work.
Carrie Beth Leslie still here?
Limited time work.
She's coming.
You guys did a lot of complaining about spending money that you budgeted for. A real way to raise money would be to increase our census numbers. We get more money with federal funding, have lower cost shares. And you were approached with a legitimate complaint, legitimate grounds for challenging those numbers by a census worker. And you responded to them with an email saying that you were busy doing other things. So I hope that census worker comes here when you can talk about it.
Thank you. Greg Mayering. Thank you, Greg. Okay, please state something if you don't mind.
Sure.
Knowing that it is a limited time, and you guys, those that are sitting here don't agree with the limited time to speak, there are some people who would like to speak in this limited time, so I'd appreciate if you respect the people who do wanna speak and allow them that short period of time that they are able to. I understand the, not the motive, but the intention, and I respect everybody's.
That's not our rule that's keeping people from speaking.
No, I understand, I truly understand, but there are some people who would like to speak within this 15 minutes that's allotted.
Then
I don't make the
direct
rules,
them.
I'm just, you can't respond, I'm sorry, Justin.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
This was speech.
I understand. Justin. I'm just giving my opinion,
Appreciate it.
no problem. Sandra Jessup?
She had to go home.
Okay. Amdi Fakhr Islam?
Assalamualaikum. Good evening, everyone. Long time I know you are in here and listening our city officials and all the public comments. Thank you for coming, everyone. I try to come sometime to our city council meeting because our city is a beautiful city in the United States. Nobody can see the beautiness of Hamtramck in other areas in United States. Then I am requesting all of you, please keep our beautiness. Don't bring more like hatred or hating each other. This is not good. I could suggest our council or mayor or city manager try to get a fund from federal or the state to have one mental hospital in our city, because our people has mental issues. We saw that. This is not good. This is not totally good. As an imam, if you come to me, then I could give you the counsel. We are always counseling our people. The thing I want to say, like we beautify our place in like next to the mosque, which is called Kitab Cafe. And city raised the taxes more than double. I called the assessor. He said like we rebuilt, but we renovated. We make a beautiful place, and the people, all the raised people, they come here. They are always coming here, and they're enjoying. Now we have to like pay more taxes. I refer this tax bill to my attorney. He's also reviewing. I contacted our city mayor and our mayor pro tem. We are waiting. The second thing is that so many the senior citizens, Muslim people, they are living in the senior center. They are facing the very busy road.
Thank you.
We have to care about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Claude Silvera still here?
Hello.
Hello.
Hamtramck is a safe city, and we don't need the cameras here. But if Hamtramck is a safe city, we probably don't need to amp up any penalty for some vandalism over some flags and some stickers. I saw the post on Facebook about that sticker is totally inappropriate. And I saw your sign be vandalized. That was not appropriate either. But I just don't think that it's right to go to the length of having a special law just for this city to deal with that problem. And I don't think that that's say somebody does get caught doing something like this now, and they get punished. Are they gonna stop being angry because they got caught and punished? They'll probably keep being angry. And they'll keep acting the way they're acting, and the people around them will hear the way they talk and think, and they'll be angry too. I think Hamtramck, you were all saying, like, we live together, we should work together to make the city better. And I know you're trying to do that. I just want to reiterate, I know the law's passed now and it is what it is, but I'm not sure it's going to work out. And somebody was saying, oh, well, one side protest, there can be a counter protest too. That's true. And then somebody takes out their phone, and then it gets on the news. Maybe somebody thinks here, or somebody who's not here, I don't know, that they're the person who will get in front of the news cameras when the chaos breaks out because the city is in the national news and people are coming here from outside. They think they'll make a career off of that, but it comes at the expense of everybody who actually lives here. And I've seen this happen other places I have lived, and I don't want it to happen here. It's a good place, and it's doesn't.
Thank you, Claude.
Thank you.
Rami?
Good evening for a third time. I know at the top, my first public comment, I mentioned that I wasn't going to get into the letter that the ACLU sent you, but since we're coming up on the very end of the public comment period and there's a possibility that individuals in this room could be prevented from speaking, I did want to remind you that closing public comment period after 15 minutes, if there are still people in line, the ACLU believes is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You are free to obviously make whatever decision you make, but I wanted to highlight some key points in our letter. One being that the Open Meetings Act was passed to encourage, facilitate nights like this, where we have hours of debate among city council members and public, and with the public. Part of that is a public comment period, where individuals have a right to speak in public meetings to public bodies. And the fact that it's not only the city of Hamtramck, and we're looking at other cities too, but the fact that I'm here right now talking about the city of Hamtramck, that we're limiting public comment to 30 minutes at the beginning and 15 minutes at the end for a total of 45 minutes, that is putting people in a position where they could show up at 7 p.m., wait their turn until 10:34 p.m., and ultimately not be able to speak. They took time out of their evening, skipped dinner, for us Muslims, perhaps even skip prayer, to speak to you. And the rules that were put in place on August 22nd mean that they would have to go home without the opportunity to address their elected officials. We think that's a clear violation of the Open Meetings Act, and I would just warn you again, based on our letter, that in a few meetings, we think you all may be violating the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you. Rainbow? Rainbow? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly.
It's Himbo.
Rainbow? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So y'all have a really particularly interesting pattern, a really notable timeline for any resident within and without of Hamtramck to actually notice, and that is the timeline of hypocrisy. When people notice that your proposals of neutrality follow the exact same legislative narratives of other communities, utilizing the very same tactics, the very same rhetoric, the very same backpedaling, and the very same impressive alliances following after is maintained. When you were faced with the reality of this criticism, you ended up responding against public comment. I was quite literally outside of this door when I witnessed, some of you weren't even actually in this room, had to be reminded that you do not even have the authority to shut out public comment for people outside of Hamtramck, as you tried to demonstrate that day. And then following all of this, at the exact same time, following another meeting, y'all still went forward with trying to suppress public comment in any way, shape, or form. This is a pattern of following oppressive systems down to the legislature. This is a pattern of following in the footsteps of people before you, people that do not look like you, people that do not have cultures not necessarily entirely similar to you, but people with some of the exact same interests. It does not matter how many times you come up here, how many times anyone else comes up here with anything to say about who you actually end up working with. People are actively aware with publicly available information that the people that you are supporting have gone out of their way in the past to target people similar to y'all. I was quite literally a child when I was going around into airports following the events of 9/11, witnessing people that have nothing to do with the situations outside of American borders, having to deal with American law enforcement, military, and intelligence finding as many excuses.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, that's all for public comment.
We have 3 hours to talk.
Yeah, there's people who need to speak.
3 hours of chronic pain. I came here because you said I'm not allowed to speak because I'm disabled, and you don't want to hear from us when we're not here.
Well, in that case, all right, can we talk? I will suspend the law and allow you to talk since you stayed.
Sure.
And until the council, try to reconsider this. Like I said multiple times, I'm in support of unlimited time, but it's not only my vote. So you can.
So the two.
Yes, we can allow it.
Excuse me, did you want to speak as well?
I mean, I signed up to speak.
I know, but I don't.
I understand it's not your fault.
Okay, so the mayor suspended the rules, he'll let the two speak, so, well, yeah,
Sure.
2 minutes, please.
So I'm one of the voiceless, faceless people that have been emailing, writing to you. I have chronic pain. I have 2 bulging discs in my neck. My hands currently, half of them are numb, but I'm sitting here out in the hallway for 3 hours to talk because we aren't allowed to speak. You don't think that if you can't see our faces and we're not here, that we didn't try hard enough to get here, that our voices don't matter. And that is crap. Absolutely. Our voices matter. I shouldn't have to come to you and tell you that I'm in pain and sit in the hallway, nauseous, just to have a voice. I shouldn't have to be told that, oh, we might be lying if we apply for accommodation. An accommodation process that you don't even have on your website. You have no way for any of us to know how to actually apply to speak. And on top of that, because you're limiting the amount of time that someone has to speak, and it's only for 30 minutes and 15 minutes, you're only giving the voice to the people that are here and completely erasing everyone else. And I also just wanted to note, many times during this meeting, many of you have said that you want to work with us. People have been coming for 3 months trying to work with you. And many of you walk out when we're speaking. You don't even look at us. You don't respond to us. You don't talk to us. We've had people from Hamtramck Queer Alliance coming for months, sitting in this meeting, speaking to you all, and now we are just hearing that you're meeting with representatives from our community who none of us know, none of us have heard about it. So this is, this is all new information. If you want to actually meet with us, you want to create unity, then you actually have to do that. You can't just expect us to come and sit in the hallway and wait and potentially, hopefully, be able to speak. Because I shouldn't have to yell at you just so you hear my voice.
Thank you, Amanda. And, excuse me?
What is your name?
Your name?
Sarah?
Come on, Sarah.
All the cards. I would like to know how many
Tyrion, right?
cards, yes,
Yes.
of people that weren't able to speak.
You said what, I'm sorry?
I think it would be helpful for all of us to know how many people weren't able to speak after the meeting. Okay.
I sent an email comment and it would be. Well, yes, like as in person.
Print and an email, please.
Yeah, emails would be, the emails will be in our minutes, posted on
Okay.
Word docs.
So, resolution 2023-127, which limits the time citizens can speak at council meetings, is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. Obviously, you already know that, you received the man's letter. Since this council is either too incompetent or willfully disregarding the state law, I will highlight the consequences for violating it. The first offense is a fine of $1,000. The second offense in the same term of office is a fine of $2,000, or you can be jailed for a year, or both. It should not be the responsibility of the citizens of Hamtramck to find problems with resolutions that you pass, then come before you to point out those mistakes. To prepare for today's meeting, I did 1 hour of research on the Open Meetings Act to talk to you. So it's really surprising that, I'm able to do this as a citizen, but the people who are elected to serve us can't be bothered to do that research, can't work with anyone to figure out if what they're doing is actually lawful or not. So it's pretty clear that this council cannot be bothered to do that research. The only other conclusion I can make is that this council is trying to actively suppress the voices of Hamtramck residents, which is also unacceptable. And it's un-American. So further, by silencing our voices, you must think that other voters won't notice what's happening in these meetings. I am thoroughly, absolutely, 100% disgusted with this council and have zero confidence in your ability to govern.
Thank you, Sarah.
That's it.
Is Sabrina still here?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello. Participating in local government is an important part of being in a passionate community such as Hamtramck. Something we should be excited to be doing. Things like proposing new ideas for the community. Instead, we're here feeling like we're hopeless and like we're yelling and our voices are being suppressed. Hamtramck's unique in its diversity. It's something that we should be proud of, and it makes it an enriching place to live. But that diversity inevitably comes with differences of opinions. With these differences of opinions, it's important to make sure that all of our residents are validated and heard, and that is how you do it, is coming to these meetings. It's crucial to do so. And attempting to limit this is not only infuriating, but it is halting making improvements to the city. You're effectively silencing minorities you don't agree with, which is a little ironic considering most people in this room are minorities themselves. Residents aren't here tonight because they're happy with how things are going in the city. It's a city we all care about deeply, and most comments made tonight have been in frustration. Frustration of budgets being used for things that residents don't agree with, things that may feel predatory to residents, frustration that you're trying to silence voices, and we're here to point out flaws in resolutions you are considering to appease your comfort instead of taking the safety and concern of your residents into account. I encourage you to listen to your people and make this city one to be proud of instead of one that's gaining national attention for questionable resolutions.
thank you. Is Ellie Martin still here? Okay, that's it, Mr. Mayor. Nobody else turned in a card that I didn't call on, right? What are you pointing at yourself for? Oh,
And Red violated the civil rights of 3 individuals.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
no talk, no
I'm
talk.
sorry.
All right, so we come to an end now, and we have a closed session,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back.
So,
We're not coming back out to vote, so we won't go live after this closed
Yeah,
session,
okay.
so,
We don't know that.
oh, we don't
I
know.
don't know that we
Okay.
That would be close the session.
so we make a motion to
We
close
need
the
to make a
session?
motion for close the session, right?
Right?
Yes.
A motion.
Second,
All right.
thank you. Do we take a 2 minutes, 3 minutes break?
And it's 10:45.
We're taking 2 minutes?
You wanna take a couple minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I said 2 minutes. Just stretch, just
yeah, couple
get up and stretch.
All right.
Been sitting here for
Oh.
এগুলি ধরে ধরে নিয়ে আসো ইয়া করার জন্য বদার করার জন্য ম্যাক্স How are you? This is the remember our religious parent. Okay. That's all. Yeah. হুজুর কি অবস্থা?